Hold on. All right, good morning. How we doing? I had to do a little adjustment there. We help you get over the hump. Welcome to a Hump Day edition of Gary and Matt, 1620 The Zone.
Mike.
A little foggy outside. That reminds me of the Eagles-Bears Fog Bowl.
Reminds me of the 2013 Ravens and Bears Fog Bowl. Also a Fog Bowl.
Was that as notable?
No,
never heard
not
of that
as
one.
notable.
I remember the first one.
The Eagle-Bear one was like crazy at
New
Old
Year's
Soldier Field.
So my grandfather was at that game.
Of course he was. Did he play?
No, he brought a handle of Jim Beam, and
You know where I'm going, Jimmy.
And
Eventually his grandpa's going to be playing in the game.
No. I'm not Brian Scalabrine, where I'll be lying to people about my actual role in certain things. But
He replaced Matt Suey in the backfield.
You know what? You guys thought Jim McMahon was a quarterback? Actually, was my grandpa.
it's actually
Your grandpa
you
was
couldn't
Jim
see.
McMahon. Your grandpa was Vince Evans?
I could pull that off. I could tell people Jim McMahon.
You're related to Bobby Douglas?
I could tell people that Jim
Hey,
McMahon
Rock.
McMahon is my uncle, like, oh, we're cousins. We're cousins. Yeah. Mom's side of the family. No big deal, whatever. No, he was at that game. He had my grandfather was the guy who brought the radio to the game. And so everybody
in the stadium to listen to?
Yes.
There's going to be fog in this game. Trust me.
So he brought the radio and everybody was gathered around my grandfather while he just played the radio in the stadium because nobody could see what was going on in the fog.
It was
That's what
warm.
he claims, okay?
Let's talk to Grandpa about this because
Grandpa's dead.
how could you listen to well,
Go ahead. No. Grappy's listening.
Hey,
Go
there
on.
are ways to talk to him.
There are.
I was
Tell me
ready
you
for
can talk
beer
to the dead.
We can talk about it.
So the talented voice of the Bears, how could he see the field?
I did. That's exactly
It'd be
what I
a
asked.
miserable experience.
I'm just
try and call that game. Who was it? There was a game recently where they had the sideline reporter. Might have been a college football game where they had the sideline reporter do the play-by-play.
Oh, that's got to be
Which-
brutal.
Yeah.
I
Yes, I know
think
what you're
I think the sidelines in football are the worst seat in the house.
Yes, because I've done the pair of microphones before
Mm-hmm.
for Fox, and it's tough. It's a tough watch. Now, when they get to your side,
Yeah.
when they're in your end zone, it's awesome. Like you honestly can't ask for a better experience because you can hear them talking to each other and
Mhm.
like certain things, and the communication is louder. But when they're going the opposite direction,
Yeah.
2 yards is 10 yards. 10 yards is 2 yards. I have no idea.
I hate, I not hate. I enjoyed doing the sidelines, but it was a tough watch unless the
Sure.
ball was on your end of the field. Like if it was in the middle of the field, if you're the sideline guy, you're not in the bench area.
No.
Except sometimes. But it was, I don't like standing on the field. It's a bad seat. I like to be up. All right. Welcome in, everybody. Everywhere you look, I think this is a song, might be a Bob Dylan song. Everywhere you look, every conference final is 3-1. Last night there were video game numbers in Indianapolis. I don't know why people don't like Pat McAfee. Also, college football. The thing with college football yesterday, which got a little sideways there in old Destin, Florida, which is a beautiful
so
area.
sideways. So
I
quickly.
love how people that cover college football,
Nick Saban was at my wedding.
including some of us,
We're in the same hotel.
don't like talking about college football. Like you try, like people that are in the sport.
It's a really good point.
People that are in the sport that cover like the NBA and college football
They
don't like
hate what
actually
they-
talking about the sport.
Yeah.
They're like, I know it's at the end of May, so what are you supposed to talk about when it comes to players and stuff?
Sure.
But like in the NBA, we don't talk about, now if you're not talking about Halliburton today and what the Pacers did, you're doing it wrong. But we like to talk about probably, Sham said it's going to be a very intriguing offseason in the NBA. That looks like a good one. Or bad take Kendrick Perkins. The only reason he's on TV is because availability during COVID to talk about to be the face of the league. You better spurt out some kids and get yourself a wife.
That
What
was
the
a
heck?
wild take.
What the
This is why I'm glad I don't watch this.
Wild.
Also, last night, Troy Dannon spoke.
Oh,
He went
spoke
on the
already.
radio. He said a lot. And we get to keep our vows. Not vows, vows.
Oh, okay. I'm very happy about it. You know my routine, always with the hamburger pizza at a game.
Yeah.
Very, very happy. I was a part of the.
This was. I got you. Okay,
yeah.
I'm in.
You remember this?
Yes,
Combo? I
yes.
was very
Yeah.
disappointed,
Got
and a
emotional.
lot of people were taking shots at people on Twitter who
Yeah.
were freaking out about the fact that Valves wasn't going to be at Memorial Stadium. Producer Josh. I have full right to be upset.
Why is he so angry?
I don't know.
He is just an angry person.
He was taking shots at people who were freaking out about Val's when it was first announced that it may not be in the stadium. It's a big deal. Some people like what they like to eat at the stadium. Not having it there is reason to get upset. I'm no longer upset. I get that
slice right now.
Okay, so the food, so the concession holder is different. The main staples are going to be the same, and I think it's this way. So we are in this time and age where there's so many things going on in our life that we kind of like to lean back on nostalgia.
Yes.
We do that with the NBA. The NBA next year is going to lean into nostalgia. I almost think that Jordan's coming back to play because we like those times. There's a lot of things like candy. Candy. We like the old candy because it reminds us of nostalgia.
Candy.
Has there been a new candy bar recently that everybody loves other than Mr. Beast?
Bring back the Reggie bar, baby.
No.
So we also like the old logos, right?
Yes.
We get excited about the old logos. So we love nostalgia. So when we hearken back to when you walk into the old grandma on 10th and Vine in Lincoln, you want the staples that are there. I also think this, and it's a wise move because there's going to be so much upheaval with that stadium in the next few years.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is add another change that's going to draw a major reaction. So I think it's a smart play to keep the staples of food in Memorial Stadium. Some people, it is a big deal. Yeah. Others like, I mean, there were other things that Dan had said last night that are going to pique the interest in the tickle the twine of fans. But I think we like nostalgia. I think Val's is nostalgia because how many people
actually order that pizza outside of Memorial Stadium?
Yes,
not very many.
And like the red dye, it tastes different inside of that stadium. However they make it, when it arrives.
To be fair, your lunch special you told me
I think it's a different type of cardboard that they put I think it's a different type of cardboard.
You said that before.
That they put in the pizza with, and so I think when the moisture evaporates on the top of the cardboard, it reacts differently and it changes the taste of the pizza. I love it. I don't even think it's so much is changing in Nebraska that we have to keep Val's around for nostalgia. There's just so much changing, period. In just life, and in everything, and in college sports.
The playoff, we're going to 16. Is that the change you're talking about?
5 plus 11. 5 plus 11. Or 8 plus, I don't know, man. 12 plus 4. If I have to hear all these math equations around college football anymore, I'm going to lose it.
Oh, I got takes today on that.
We have a lot of takes.
I watched Feinbaum yesterday. What a great set. Did you see their set?
I didn't see their set, no.
Again.
Yeah.
So they have a full set. Wait, they have a set in Destin, Florida that they are.
It's right. It's right on the beach. It's
shout
awesome.
out Beauchamp.
God, I know we're a Big Ten radio station. We're in Big Ten country, but there are some things that the SEC do that are over the top that I just love. Like having a full desk and a full panel at a spring meeting that you can't even put microphones in is absolutely awesome.
Well, so I asked yesterday. It was either BC or Sam. I said, did anybody go cover? I might have just said this outside of our interviews. Did anybody go cover the Big Ten spring meetings in Los Angeles? Do you know that one person did?
Who?
And he was a reporter from Alabama, John Talty. So he was the only reporter there, and Petiti would not speak. But Greg Sankey speaks for 4 straight days. And it's kind of interesting, the dynamic that's going on, and all of the fervor yesterday is the SEC, what Sankey is talking about, actually is not their idea.
No.
It is the Big Ten's idea. This is fascinating for the Big Ten because Sankey, who has probably thicker skin than most, is out in front of this, and he's taken the arrows, and he's actually he's actually going to bat. I don't know if he fully believes this, for something the Big Ten proposed, and nobody from the Big Ten is on the front line. It is all about the SEC. So it's perfect for the Big Ten because everybody thinks, oh, the SEC. The Big Ten is back, baby. And it's actually all of this stuff is the Big Ten's idea.
The best part is, too, is that you see him at the press conferences, and there were moments where it looks like he knows he can't really defend certain points.
Yeah.
Like he's just kind of caught, or it's like he knows the answer, you know the answer, but he doesn't want to say it. And then so he kind of backpedals to the same points. And it's like when you remind yourself that this wasn't even your idea, you think, dude, why are you doing this? Why are you putting yourself in the hole? But the best part about this the best part is they all don't agree with each other. They all have different ideas. Like Kirby Smart thinks differently. Lane Kiffin thinks differently. Trev Alberts thinks differently. Sankey thinks differently.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think the coaches are one of us. The administrators and presidents are the money guarantees. The coaches want fairness.
Sure.
That's what coaches want. Coaches want it to be fair. You know, you heard Kiffin yesterday.
Yeah.
Hey, just give me the 16 best.
I don't agree with that necessarily.
But the coaches want it to be fair. No, what coaches are saying, I want guaranteed berths. It's the athletic directors and it's the presidents who always are looking at the money and they're looking at the guarantees. Okay? I think the coaches at the end of the day, because that's what they do, they love competition. They want a fair playing field to prove that they're the best. And I think that's what you're seeing unfold, especially with the SEC. Now, I think the same way in the Big Ten.
Sure. Well,
You, as a coach, you want a fair playing field. You know what? You want to be able to go out and prove it on the field and have nothing given to you. You want to be able to go out and LeBron James, face of the NBA, Kendrick Perkins, earn it, okay? Not have it given to you.
Yeah.
But if you are sitting up in the high seats and you don't have it, your butt's not on the line on the field every day doing the X's and O's and trying to manage a roster, all you want the money. You want the guarantee, okay? You want something that you can control. Coaches live in a world where it's just out of control. Yeah. Okay, they control certain aspects.
Well,
so that's why I think I listen to the coaches, and at the end of the day, they want fairness. It's the other people that don't go anywhere near whistles and pads.
Yeah.
That are like, you know what? We got to have them guarantees. We got to get that guarantee because that's the money.
You could definitely tell by both of their proposals that they're trying to accomplish different things and that coaches and athletic directors very much sit in different chairs, right? Here's why I disagree with the fairness argument, though, because the coaches still want 8 conference games. Okay, that's their thing. They want a 16. Like if they're going to go with the 16 model, they want to keep that. I'm trying to find the quote from the.
They are talking
ESPN
about
article.
9. The polos. The polos are the ones like we'll go to 9 if we get guarantees.
Yeah. So that's what they're saying. Trev Alberts said that completely. He goes, "We'll go to 16 if we get automatic qualifiers." But the coaches, I read this quote this morning about how the coaches want 8 conference games, and so that is like where that is kind of the battleground that they're at. That if they're going to go to the 16 team model with these qualifiers, they want to keep 8 conference games, and I don't think. No. If
they go to qualifiers, they're going to 9.
Well,
that's.
But
they're waiting.
I'm telling you though that the coaches want 8 conference games. They don't want to go to 9 conference games. That's a quote that I read this morning.
Read the Nick Saban quote.
But Nick Saban isn't coaching anymore in the.
But
SEC.
he wanted 9, and there were others that said you're right. But they just want a guarantee.
So. I have to find this quote.
So this
I'm pinpointing my argument off of it. I don't know where it is, but
this is Trev Alberts yesterday did something. By the way, I would not want to be his baseball coach. He got cornered. That was a really odd conversation.
Really?
But he said the thing out loud that I don't know. Are you supposed to say it? Yeah, we're not going to 9 conference games until we get guarantees. Until we get 16. So. Who knows when that is going to happen? I know another thing listening yesterday, and again, people that cover college football don't want to talk about the football. They want to talk about all the other stuff that is around it. Anybody else find it interesting? And I know to a lot of fans, this is garbage. Okay,
yeah.
You just want to get to Saturdays in the fall, or you want to be part of the Sea of Red at Arrowhead in August. What happened to the House settlement? So the House settlement.
It's been like
I was
7 weeks now.
No.
It's been forever.
No, it's going to be the finalization.
Yeah.
That was supposed to happen Friday between 6:30 and 7. There was going to be a final release. It's now Wednesday. We're a day past the holiday weekend. Where is the House settlement? Where is all of that at? Because all of a sudden that has gotten really, really quiet. And I think if I'm in that world, I'm wondering, what's going on?
About 6.
When does the season start? When do we play football? When does week 0 gets here? When do we have Farmageddon in Dublin? When we're bubbling in Dublin with the farmers?
It was like 6 weeks ago where this thing was going to be finalized. 4, 5, 6 weeks ago where there's a little flicker there. That this was going to be done.
Don't have that
and
on
then
my
it turned into
bingo
the
card.
roster limits.
Yeah.
Right? Then the roster limits I think got solved. And then all of a sudden
Well, no.
Well, the grandfathering, or like they were going to do it.
The response last week, you saw last week's response. That was not. They were pushing back. I wonder what's going on, because that was a lot of people in the college world were thinking between 6:30 and 7, a late Friday dump about finalization, and it didn't happen. And now we're to Wednesday, and like Sankey was kind of skirting around it yesterday, which makes me think that maybe he knows that something is coming. It just you learn a lot by listening to him in Destin, but this is nauseating, man. This is a fan. This is a fan. This is why I think, as a fan, if you live in a pro market, you've thrown your hands up around college sports and you go, you know what? You guys are apparently adults and you can't figure this out. How are we going to deal with bigger issues? I'm done with college. I'm just going to be a pro sports guy.
I don't think that's a bad take at all. But at the same time, it's like they added this weird thing with they're going to have a CEO now of the College Sports Commission that is going to is going to be a non-college sports person who's going to make all of the disciplinary decisions, which if I'm someone who's going to sign that contract, I'm like, wow, that's kind of just out of nowhere that we're throwing this thing in where we're just now going to elect a czar of college football who none of us know that is just going to make these decisions. Like that is a really weird thing to throw in on like the back half of a settlement.
That's why
it's so strange.
That's why this is still up in the air. And I mean, is this going to be settled by July 1? There's so much. I mean, you have schools that are probably on the verge of cutting some sports. You have athletic departments that are cutting back on their staff, whether it be Oklahoma or elsewhere.
Yeah,
you have so much uncertainty, and it'd be solved. If you do this, you got to separate football. You've got to take football out of the rest of the athletic department, because the setup of football from the money and structure is not like anything else that's inside of your athletic department. And I think if you separated football, you would take a step towards at least like simmering the waters a little bit and figuring things out.
You and I both know, though, that we can talk all we want about the whole we're getting tired of this and just make the decisions or whatnot. But as soon as the first fall Saturday hits, most of us,
that's why I keep saying, don't mess with my Saturday,
are just all going to be back looking at the TV. And the thing, though, is
but we'll be back watching the TV. But as I said yesterday, I have less connection to any other teams in this league. Like Iowa, I'll pay attention to, not only because they're close to Nebraska, and we have a lot of Iowa fans in our listening audience, but that's the only team that Nebraska is guaranteed to play every single year. Like, are you gonna pay attention to Wisconsin this year?
It has nothing to do with Wisconsin not playing Wisconsin. It's the fact that Wisconsin has different players every 2 years.
Well, I think it's just you don't play them. So why? Like, how much did you pay attention to Minnesota last year?
Not a ton.
Yeah, I know we're supposed to say in this was, I watch every game. That ain't true. Okay, you watch. I find that in the current day of college sports and college football, and how we have become so regionalized, that my attention towards Nebraska has increased in the last couple of years because of the setup of college football and the expansion of conferences, and because the schedule, and even more so now that we're out of divisions. Like, you would pay attention to the other 6 teams in your division. Okay, you would know everything there is to know about Purdue and Illinois, but now it's like, you know what? Hey, Illinois will be a good story this year, but am I going to go deep into Illinois because Nebraska doesn't play them? I'll watch, but I'm not going to be invested in every single thing that the Fighting Illini do.
It's on top of that, though, the fact that you don't consistently play them, but they also always don't. They always have different players now, right? If you play a team every single year, right, and they have the same guys when you saw them come up as sophomores and juniors and seniors, like, you kind of create a connection to that player that you consistently see play, and that's how rivalries start, by the way, where you hate a player individually because he's been so damn good against your team, or he's done bad things against your team. You don't have that anymore because guys are leaving and guys pick up their bags and they go to a different school and then they go to this school. And it's like, how can you make connections?
You're a pro sports fan that dabbles in a little college. You probably are, okay, welcome to free agency, but I'm going to stick with my pro.
No, the what made college football is that it was easier to make connections, deeper connections with players and coaches than it was pro sports, right?
Mhm.
Now that we have moved to this pro sports model, that connection is gone. And so now you're sitting here and eventually we're on the way to getting to a point where college sports is the same product as the NFL or college sports is the same product as the NBA, but it's just go worse. It's just go worse product, which makes it like AAA baseball or AHL hockey or all those minor league sports.
Now
that
I'm
going
to say the outside. I think the play is really good. You're talking about the outside periphery stuff? Or are you saying that the play of
I think of
college basketball and college football has slipped?
I think eventually when we get to a certain point, if like
Mhm.
we get to a point where eligibility is gone and you just need to be getting a degree in order to play college sports, you're going to have, unless there is a rule set, which I'm not going to act as if I know if they can do that or not. Unless a rule is set, you're going to have 26 and 27-year-olds that are playing college sports.
I know I know you've held that belief for a while. I still don't see that happening.
I'm not throwing anything out.
I don't think that is. I think that's a popular thing to discuss. I just don't foresee it happening.
My thing is, what's going to stop
I think they'll have 5 years of eligibility. You have 5 years to play 5. I think that is more likely.
I just have a concern of like what is going to stop that? Like
Well,
what is going to stop that?
Because people are going to reason. I know that's hard to say about college sports, and they're going to go,
sure.
Why do we have a 26-year-old playing against an 18-year-old on the defensive line? I just don't. I don't think the whoever the caretaker is of the sport allows that to happen. But to have 5 to play 5, I think definitely
that would
is
save
a possibility.
But I'm saying that if we do get to that point where, because we've now known at this point that nothing can stop and that nothing can impede you from making money. That has been like very, very clear.
It makes
like
the world go round.
All of these things, all of these legislative decisions have gone through because it's like, hey, you can't stop college kids from making money. And so I have that concern of like, what if that just never stops and they just keep, and we get to the point where it's not 5 and 5, and that can exist. And college sports is a worse product than the NBA and the NFL in terms of efficiency, right? In terms of efficient play. But the lack of efficiency creates wild endings, creates crazy things to happen, which gets us to enjoy those sports. When you have better and better players and older players, you make the game a little bit more efficient, which makes it less unique, which then I think would cause me not to want to watch that product as much as the pro product. That's my concern.
All right, coming up on the show, John Walker stops by. Creighton is headed to Fayetteville to take on Arkansas, North Dakota State, KU over the weekend. Nebraska leaves for Chapel Hill today when they get North Carolina, Oklahoma, and Holy Cross. We'll discuss if it was mascots fighting, and that determined who won the regional. How would Herbie Husker or Billy Blue Jay fare? John Walker will ask that very, very important question coming up at 9. And then Brandon Vogel stops by at 9:40 from Counter Read. That is the lineup brought to you by the Roofers at John Higgins, a weather guard. When we return, there is a lot of respect inside of these borders for Matt Rule. Lots of respect.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. I think there is an example of respect. Plus, we both watched Kegs last night.
We watched him all right. We were there.
There were a lot of people that watched him. People are wondering, though, he was 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Is he a better first baseman than he is at the plate? Because if that's the case, bust.
We might have some problems.
His home debut was a little rough last night.
Let me tell you something. Yesterday's game, though, outside of like Cags, and by the way, big win for the Storm Chasers. It looked really good.
They're now 21-29.
There was a lot of really funny things that were happening at the park last night. If you were paying attention, if you had your eyes peeled, it was kind of a comedy show at some points.
Really?
I will tell you why.
Okay.
I will tell you why.
We have Kegs fever. Last night, nearly 3,000 were there. A lot of them 1620 of his own listeners. Kegs went 0 for 5, 3 Ks. Looked good at first base. I think he
just
I think
looks
a little
good.
pressure. He had a long day. He had a lot of media obligations yesterday. But good to see a lot of our Kansas City friends that were up here. I saw some people I've not seen in a while. So Kegs fever. It's in Kansas City, but is it going to take off in Omaha? You got 2 weeks. Yes, I said 2 weeks. We're off and rolling. Gary and Matt with Jimmy, 1620 The Zone. All right, 87 days away from the college football season. So that means we have 86 days that we can point out that the SEC didn't get their exact way one time. By the way, people forget that the SEC has not won a national championship the last 2 years. And now, because they are not getting their way, they are questioning the very existence of a committee that did their bidding for years. Kind of odd, SEC, when the field is level and you don't have built-in advantages. Oh, let's change the rules. You sound like an infant. You sound like a toddler. You sound like, you know what, us parents know that the kid wants to change the rules and move the goalposts. Welcome to hell. The Big Ten is better than the SEC. There, I said it, and I'm someone that likes the SEC.
Can we stop talking about Alabama from last year, please?
He's trolling, by the way. I think Kellen DeBoer is trolling.
I don't think he is at all. I don't think he is at all. I think he's still upset about it. I still think he has. At some point, I do think that maybe it's less about him in Alabama and more about the league. Like maybe he thinks he's doing it for the league. It happened. It happened. I think
he's trolling. I think he's trolling.
I don't know. I can't tell. He's tweeting about it too.
He's not that stupid. Okay, because the SEC.
I don't know, man.
The SEC has
I don't know.
You know what? Here's the thing about football. Okay, I like to talk about football on the air. I never coached a down of football. I've called a lot of football. I like football. Here's what you do.
Yeah.
Don't lose to the teams you're not supposed to.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Just do that.
Thank you.
Hell, you might win 6 games if you do that every year and then figure out a way to win 3 or 4 more. And here's the other thing. This is why I think Kellen DeBoer is smart on this. And I think he wanted to troll yesterday. I think he saw Feinbaum and others, and he said, here we go. I'm going to light him up like a monkey.
Like a monkey?
They have gotten the benefit of the doubt for the longest time. The reason that they were in the conversation was their strength of schedule, okay? Don't lose to teams you're not supposed to lose to. If you do, then shut your face, okay? Lane Kiffin, same way. And here's the other thing. I got to be fired
Go
up.
ahead.
I was gonna have a nice, easy morning. I was going to talk about my new friend, Kegs.
I'll give you the run. Oh, here you are loading up.
No. For the longest time, the teams that deserve to be in have gotten in for the most part, correct? We can remember some arguments, but like for the SEC, for example, last year, every team that deserved to be in got in, correct?
I think so.
Okay. Thank you. You thought I was going to just blow a gasket?
You were loading up a little bit like you were.
I
am too, but I'm blowing a gasket too. I'm the one who brought it up.
87 days from now, we get football. And you know what? We get to reminisce today about Nate Swift. We get to reminisce about Reggie Wayne. How good was Reggie Wayne wearing 87 at Miami catching passes?
I don't like Reggie Wayne, but
why don't you like Reggie Wayne?
Because he stole a Super Bowl from my team.
I don't know that he stole
Rex
it.
Grossman gave the damn Super Bowl.
That's
Reggie
true.
Wayne had nothing to do with it.
Jimmy,
that's true.
I'm not going to remember
that.
Rexy.
You know
all
what?
right?
Good
I
point.
grew up. Most
Okay,
kids
Lovey.
grew up with like an Aaron Rodgers poster.
You grew up with Cade McNown and Rex Grossman.
Or Peyton
Kate
Manning.
McNown
Jay
beat
Cutler.
Texas 66-3.
Maybe they grew up with a John Elway poster. I grew up with a Rex Grossman poster.
Why not Jim Miller? Jim Miller won the division.
We were a Grossman family.
Are you a
okay?
Jim Miller guy? Because he's
No,
a
not really.
media guy in Chicago.
I never met Jim Miller. I'm not a bit. I really am not the biggest Jim Miller guy. My dad loved Jim Harbaugh.
I mean, who didn't?
Loved Jim Harbaugh. Had a Jim Harbaugh jersey.
Grandpa actually snapped the football to Jim Harbaugh, according to Matt.
Yeah.
Warming
up on the sideline in case Tom Zach and McMahon went down in that game.
Did not. But we were not a Jim Miller family. I was a Rex Grossman kid. And then I was a Kyle Orton kid. And then I became a Jay Cutler kid.
Damn, I feel like I need to go over there and give you a hug. I'm really sad.
Then I became an a Mike Lennon kid. Then a Mitch Trubisky kid.
That is wild. The kind of quarterbacks that you've had.
Damn.
I was a Kyle Orton guy because he was from Southeast Polk, which is a high school. It's in Altoona, which we played against when I was in high school. And now they're a factory. They win championships all the time. Pritchard, the starting lineman at Alabama, that's where he went to high school.
There was a moment that we thought Kyle Orton was going to be like the truth.
You know what?
Like the answer.
I think he had a nice NFL career.
Oh, he did fine for
He was
himself.
nice at Purdue. I liked him at Purdue.
I don't have any dismay toward Kyle Orton. It's just he just falls into the category of guys who failed, and I'm mad that they failed.
True.
Like he
not even a
did
Craig
not go
Krenzel
well
jersey
for him in Chicago.
Okay. All right. So there is news on the Nebraska exceeding the 105 front this morning. This is so I said going to the break. This is how you know that a lot of people in our world have respect for Matt Rule.
Yeah.
So now it's out there. Nebraska is adding Archie Wilson. He is from Australia. He is the punter that was talked about and is being added. Here's why I say that there is respect. Because my man to my left, during the spring game, sent me Archie Wilson is going to be the punter that is the addition. So what did we do? We scoured Instagram to try and find him. So Matt told me back on the day of the spring game who this guy was. More people in the last few weeks have
found out.
Yes. And they've tried to do the research. It's not easy to find out.
No,
because
if you look up Archie Wilson on Google, you will not find him. You won't find stats. You won't find a huddle. You won't find anything like that.
And we found
him on Instagram.
Stuff. Yeah.
You and I texted you. I was like, dude, I can't do it. We came up with the idea of like, oh, maybe he has an IG. Yeah. We found him with a lot of punting footage.
Yes, we did. And that's when, and so you subtly alluded to it the week after the spring game about punting with the left and right foot, which he does have video we found of him doing that. But everybody kind of in the media has known this
for a little
bit. And then I think it was on 3. I think Callahan last night was the first to announce it because they were scouring the student directory and he popped up in the student directory.
Yeah.
But I think this is a big deal for Nebraska.
Yes.
And like a big thing for Eckler. And they tried to keep it really, really quiet. And so the media kind of played along, but this has been known for a while and now it's out there.
And I think the June 1st announced, like them saying, hey, it's coming out June 1st, I think definitely at least made me not be like, all right, we got to get this out here or anything like that. Like it's going to come out eventually. There is a ton of respect. Like, there are certain things where you want to allow them to write their own press release and break their own news and lay out the red carpet for a player that they want to lay out the red carpet for. And so when you talk about respect, I think that definitely is rooted in that. Also, too, I don't want to get a bad email being like, hey, this isn't true or whatever. There are rumors you keep it high and tight. You keep it high and tight. Do the X factor when you cross the finish line.
So give me the breakdown of the video that you scoured to find out more about Archie Wilson, which is going to be, I got to ask Dave, fight this. Archie Wilson, I don't know that Nebraska football in their long celebrated history have had many Archies. And now we got a guy from Australia named Archie.
He sounds like a comic book character. He sounds like Archie Wilson sounds like the secret personality of a superhero.
And I just hope because when I first started covering Nebraska football, there was a wide receiver from Pius X he was named Brett Popplewell.
His given name.
And people would ask him, like I remember it might have been like 10, 11.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they had him eat a Vegemite sandwich.
No.
They did.
That is.
Well, because he was like one of the first Australians. And now, now you think about it. So this has been the construction post Pinstripe Bowl is if you made a list when you left Yankee Stadium and you said, okay, for 2025, Nebraska has to fix X, Y, Z. We got to get rid of X, Y, and Z. They've kind of checked all the boxes, right?
They have.
Because we got to get a new special teams guy. Got one of the best. Then
we got to shore up the offensive line.
Got it. We got to get some people that can catch some passes from a quarterback.
Done.
We got to get some replacements on defense.
Especially the defensive line.
We got to get some coaches on defense.
Yeah.
Now,
we got to get recruiters in areas of the country that have some of the best talent.
You've eliminated if you're going to search for an excuse, you've eliminated. So now it is all on you. And that's why I keep saying this is rules Nebraska football. But think about adding an Australian punter. And there aren't a lot of Australian punters that are failures?
No,
They're not everybody is
really.
Tory Taylor.
No. They're not
but-
all superstars.
No, but there's very few that are like busts.
I've very rarely have watched a football game where they had an Aussie punter and was like, that guy's trash.
Yeah.
Or like that was a bad, you know what I'm saying? Or like, oh, I'm excited
Are we
for them
allowed to
punt.
say that about Australians because they seem so nice?
They're good people. You know, so Tory
Except for
Taylor
Greg
got
Norman.
drafted in the 4th round, and there were a lot of people at my former place of employment that were furious about it, that were not happy
Because they drafted a punter that early?
they drafted a punter that early. And we have one guy who does not like special teamers, who does not count special teamers as football players, right? And Tory Taylor heard all this, whatever, and Tory Taylor printed up a picture of himself like punting amongst the clouds, okay? Sent, autographed it, and then wrote "F off, mate," and then sent it to, like, as a joke, very jokey, sent it to our guy, and it was now plastered like in his like office. So like, very nice guy, very sweet human, but
So school begins June 2nd. So that's why the June 1 was brought up. And he is a rugby style punter that has played a lot of Australian rules football.
So
it appears.
What I've seen on the Instagram is he's a skinnier guy. He's a skinnier lad. But he is ripped.
What are they listing with? Like 6'2", 180?
I think,
He doesn't look that tall
he
in
doesn't
his pictures.
at all remotely, but he is like ripped to shreds. Like the dude has probably 4% body fat. If you go through his Instagram, there are like stories of him where you can see him lining up to punt with both the left and the right foot. He's an athlete, you know, he's playing more, like he's also running around with the ball as well. So I don't know, maybe fakes are in play. We'll have some more fakes from Mike Eckler.
Now, how do you think? He's coming to the U.S. for the first time.
Yeah.
There probably is a little bit of an adjustment to playing American football. And how long does that take? Or is it, hey, Archie, this is what you want to do. Do not pull a Daniel Cerny. When we say punt left, don't punt right, or vice versa. I imagine there's going to be a little bit.
Can I be honest with you?
Of a transition.
It's ball and football, right? It's ball and foot. Like I think I'm actually more worried.
Is that what plagued Ed Foley? Is the ball in the foot?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, minus John Hull at the end of the year. I mean, what plagued Ed Foley was the lack of blocking. I mean, it was really that. I don't know necessarily.
You could have left that as an open-ended thing, and we could have just added to that.
Let me tell you something right now. I got so much.
The snap
ammo.
can't roll back to the holder. That's one.
Everything was the problem. Everything was the issue, which is why they brought in Mike Eckler. But it's ball and foot. I'm more worried about the guy. He's okay. I moved from Chicago to Omaha. I had a little bit of homesickness, okay? It just happens. He's moving from across the country to Nebraska. I don't know if you know this or not. There's not a whole lot of oceans in Lincoln, okay? There's not a whole lot of surfing to be done or like wildlife.
Have you not been to Lenoma Beach?
No, I haven't.
Really
I've
beautiful
been to
this time
Capitol
of
Beach.
year.
I didn't see too many
Lenoma
waves.
Beach, I reference that and I kind of joke a little bit. It actually is like this summertime, it's busy. A lot of people there. I don't know that I would want to swim in it.
Okay. then how are you complimenting a beach when you can't swim in the water?
Because I'm trying to help with the Convention and Visitors Bureau around here.
I don't think people are going to Nebraska, the most landlocked state in the United States, for water. No,
you don't think they're water skiing down the Missouri River?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think that's happening.
You don't think they go to Zorinsky?
Yeah.
No.
You should go to Zorinsky.
That's why we need the big lake in Ashland. What's up with the big lake? How come that got tied up in the unicameral? I haven't heard much about the big lake.
Probably
is that like a man-made?
Voted yes on it and then decided, no, we're just kidding.
It was going to be our version of Lake Okoboji.
Oh, really?
In Ashland. Yeah.
You're going to get Geneva in Ashland?
We have Geneva in Nebraska.
Yeah, we're going to try and make it a party cove.
That'd be sick.
We're going to have a big lake. Now we got no big lake.
I'm worried about.
We got big development there. There's some nice homes that are going up in that development, Ashland. But we got no big lake.
Always could use a lake. Has anyone ever been mad when a lake has just been put anywhere?
I'm sure some of the people, like maybe when Lewis and Clark were exploring, they're like, "Damn, that body of water got in the way again."
For me personally, I love a lake. Okay, if I see a lake, I'm like,
an
I
ocean
want to
guy.
live there. I can't do the ocean. If I was made to be in the ocean, I'd have gills.
What?
I got stung by a jellyfish, and it does things to you. That and I get itchy.
Did somebody pee on you?
Yeah.
No.
Then that's why you
There's a
did
segment
not
of people
like
that
it.
like that.
Yeah, no.
You got to have somebody pee on you.
It was my mom and I were there.
She didn't pee on you?
No, she didn't pee on me.
Was there ever a discussion about her peeing on you?
We've
to help you?
We've seen friends before.
Get
So
peed
there
on?
Yeah,
was-
no, it's like
there-
I'm not. People think I'm like
No.
like making disgusting jokes. It's a serious thing. Like when you live in Florida, because you're supposed to do the jellyfish shuffle. So there are certain times of the year where the jellyfish will come closer to the shore, and most news outlets will let you know because from above you can see them. And there are some places where there are stingrays, but again, they're more afraid of you than you are of them.
Yes.
But where they hover at the bottom of the floor of the ocean and near the shore, you're supposed to do. I was taught this as a Floridian.
This is crazy.
I'm not
You're
judging.
supposed to do the jellyfish shuffle because then it alerts the jellyfish
Not the
or
Cupid shuffle.
You look like Malcolm Hartzog backpedaling.
or the stingrays, and they'll pop up and they'll. Yeah, but the jellyfish are burrowed right there.
See, the reason
Waiting
this
for
is
you.
the
You're
exact
supposed to
reason
shuffle.
why I don't go in the ocean. Okay, because when you're in a pool, you don't
Yeah.
have to do the jellyfish shuffle. Okay,
Man,
You
there's
don't
So
have
if we
something
go
about
to
being in the
Destin, he's
ocean.
staying at the hotel.
I'm in the cabana. I'm in the cabana the entire time. All right.
Loser.
The mom and sister, they go and get the beach chairs. I'm in the pool cabana, and I'm eating a pizza, and then I'm floating around.
Nothing
I
says
love
beach
it.
like a good
I
pizza.
will be in a pool like we go to a hotel. I can't stay in a hotel that doesn't have a pool.
See, you're going to be the kind of person. So there are a lot of places. Let's say they're right along the ocean that have like they're like I'll give you so Fort Myers is a place called
Sure.
the Pink Shell, which is coming back after Hurricane Ian.
Nice.
It's back. It's open.
That's awesome.
Shout out John Naylor who owns it and runs it. They have beach access, private access to the Gulf of America, but they also have a pool. So which is so odd that people would rather go to the pool than the friggin' Gulf of America is right there. I mean, it's going to take me a while to get used to saying
we went on vacations all the time as a family, but
Mhm.
I am not a well-traveled individual because all we ever did is go to a different city in Florida. Like that was our vacationing, and so we went to all of those
like
places.
Lewiston,
Naples,
LaBelle.
Marco Island,
Ocala.
Sarasota.
Okay, you are rattling off cities in Florida that are desirable resort.
Key
type
West,
Yes.
Miami,
Key West, Miami,
Destin,
So bougie.
Sandestin.
Orlando. We did.
If you would tell me like you went to the Muck,
We went to Destin. We've done Destin where they're having the SEC tournament.
Clevelander.
And no, we went to all of the resort
very
towns,
overrated hotel.
and we
I
went
know.
to the resorts.
It is. It's a very overrated place, man.
What is
Your
it,
room?
Clevelander?
Your room is about 600 square feet. Yeah.
You're better off just going
So
to Cleveland.
Mom and my sister would go to the beach, and I would be at the pool, man. Me and my dad,
Mhm.
pina coladas, well, virgin at the time. Now they're real.
Pizza in a cabana and
I'm-
drinking pina coladas
Yes.
with dad.
Without liquor.
Yes, I'm telling you right now, your whole jellyfish shuffle is the
Yeah.
exact reason I don't do the ocean. It's not meant for me. It's
No,
not
it's
where
very
I live.
simple.
It's
It's very
their
simple.
home. It's their home. It's not my home.
He likes his cake in the cabana, not by the
Oh,
ocean.
I think we're way past that. Have you not seen?
Cake in the cabana.
Have you?
Take it anywhere you can get it.
Usually, all over Florida, you can. We're way past that. They don't own the ocean. We share the ocean.
No, we don't.
Have you not seen
They-
our?
it
We,
is
we,
their
we drill
ocean.
for oil.
No, it is not. It is
Yeah.
their ocean.
We put our cruise ships in their water.
We are not the apex predator in the ocean. If you go and jump in the middle of the ocean, your chances of survival are not high.
I've seen Titanic. I know.
But this is
That
all
door was
over
big enough.
Archie Wilson, who will be joining Nebraska and in the punting competition.
It's going to be a comp. I mean, is there another punter? Camden Cook?
Camden Cook.
We'll
I don't think he's like saying, "Oh no, man, mate is coming. I'm screwed."
Oh,
Hey,
no.
Competition is good. And the
Wow.
Australian pipeline may be beginning with Mike Eckler,
By the
who
way-
has familiarity with the Australian pipeline. So welcome Archie Wilson,
Real quick.
which sounds like a name that you would have in a movie, not
Totally.
of a rugby-style punter that will be joining Nebraska.
We can get into this maybe later in the season. How the hell did he find this guy? I mean, you can't. I mean, he's not on the webs.
Pro Kick Australia.
Okay,
They are a talent agency for punters in Australia.
Hell yeah, I love that.
All right, hour in the books a little bit later. John Walker and Brandon Vogel stop by on this Hump Day edition. Gary and Matt, 1620 The Zone. All right, shout out Steve Warren's son, Brilen, who will be a junior quarterback over at Omaha West Side. I saw yesterday, I believe it's Rivals. He now has another star. He's a 4-star quarterback. So kudos to Brilen. Welcome back in. Yesterday, hope everybody survived. Twitter was unhinged like it was college football season, but it was only May. It was fantastic.
It's like every week now. Like we've said that about 4 times in the last 12 shows. That there was some unhingedness on Twitter.
Unhingedness?
It was Scott Frost. Then it was the On 3, the whole Ari Wasserman thing went down. Twitter became unhinged. Now yesterday, we have the SEC meetings, which, if I'm going to be frank with you, I didn't know what was going on until like Saturday. I was like, oh,
Really?
like it just kind of.
That's not fair. It always coincides with my anniversary.
It just popped. It just popped on my thing. Oh, okay, that'll probably be important. Something to keep an eye on. I didn't think that it would be like a.
Except this is the beach.
No, I would.
I know.
Do you think if you just walked around like the conference rooms of whatever hotel they're in Destin, Florida, you can hear some chattering of what's going on?
No. We'll probably have security.
You don't think they'll let me just put my ear on the door?
Like it's not like when you go to like the Graduate on a football Saturday and you walk to go to the men's restroom and you walk by one of the ballrooms and some crochet club is going on on a football Saturday in Lincoln, and you can
hear some
all
boosters. Yeah. You hear some boosters being like, "Yeah, well, they asked me for all this money." And I was like, man, I can't do that. I mean, I got to think about my family.
Sadness in the NBA last night.
Sorry, maybe go ahead, because I don't want there to be actual sadness in me making.
There is sadness in the NBA.
Yeah, both those series are over. Good night.
We may be down to one more inside the NBA as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. My takeaway from last night isn't the incredible moment that Tyrese Halliburton has had, and that I want him to win a ring because he's not a foul baiter. Yep. Okay, he's not a free throw merchant. He's just a baller who last night put up video game numbers: 32, 12, 15, 4 steals, 0 turnovers.
Those aren't video game numbers, by the way, because that's really hard to do in NBA 2K. Like that is real. Even video game stuff. That's hard to accomplish.
SGA is a dude, and I'm here for Oklahoma City, Indiana final. But Halliburton plays the game the right way. Should be a Sacramento King, but But we are down.
You got
potentially down. Because I don't know. I think karma's a big thing in life, and
trust me,
the Knicks, since they threw garbage at the New York City firefighter who was a Pacers fan.
Yeah.
And by the way, they brought him to the game last night. You know what?
There ain't no harassed Windy
Knicks. There ain't no magic trick out there anymore. Karma is biting in the ass because of what you did to that guy throwing garbage at him. So the series could be over at Madison Square Garden. And man, those fans.
Oh, that'd be great.
Celebro. Gonna be rough. But
did you see Boomer Esiason says that the celebrities are the reason why the Knicks aren't playing well?
No. Look at what McAfee said last night. I don't know why people don't like McAfee, man. That city of Indianapolis embraces that dude. He got on the mic and did a promo last night.
That guy can run for mayor there.
He can. He is attached to Indianapolis, but could be over. Could be over Thursday night. I mean, we could have an ending tonight before that great Oklahoma City crowd and the Thunder win. Put some spect on the Thunder, please. But once the Indiana-New York Knicks series is over, so is inside the NBA as we know it after 36 years. I was blown away yesterday of watching video of my quarterback walking into the facility in Kansas City that it's Mahomes' 9th year.
Oh, my God.
Inside the NBA has been on the air for 36 years. And now they'll transition to ESPN, and you know it won't be the same.
No, they'll ruin it. Like everything else.
So that will be
locusts.
when the series ends and the Pacers are celebrating and the Knicks are down in the dumps. I'm going to be sad, and you know that their sign off, even though they're all moving over, is going to be really, really like
Ernie's going to be a mess.
I mean, they've built it up as they've gone, and they've got a behind the scenes of this whole year that's going to air. Oh, but man, that'll be a moment, and it could happen Thursday night. And that's all I could think of last night after the Indiana was running the Knicks into the ground. Jesus, 43 in the first quarter, and you shoot 70%. That the inside the NBA, we maybe have one or max, I think, 2 shows left.
I love Ernie Johnson, and it's Ernie Johnson's a broadcaster's broadcaster. Hard not to.
He's a human's human.
Yeah, just hard not to.
You're a human.
Wow, that's a compliment. I thought I was not human, but
you are human.
Broadcaster's broadcaster?
Yeah. Is that why?
Is that
you don't
a new
like
cliche?
that? You don't like that? You know,
dude's
he's a pro's
dude.
pro.
A man's
he's a dude's
man.
dude.
I didn't like you're a pro's pro.
Yeah.
I've heard that before. And I'm
he's your favorite player's favorite player.
Just like the
Ernie Johnson
separation of Kevin Bacon game?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
I can, by the way, I'm really good at that. Like I major in that. But Ernie Johnson is your favorite broadcaster's favorite broadcaster. And he's just incredible.
Does he like Springsteen? Did he go to Northwestern?
No.
What do you go? The University of Georgia.
He went to Georgia. I don't know what he likes though. I don't know if he's
I
what
think
type of
you know
music.
what.
You know, he can quote rappers.
Well, you hang out with those three, you better.
You should
He's
read
a
his
big-
book, man.
He's a big Rick Ross
Good
guy.
book.
Who isn't?
Me.
What, you got something against him? Maybe.
No, I just don't listen to him. I haven't really
Okay.
heard Rick Ross songs.
But we are down to
Wow.
one inside the NBA.
It'll
Possibly,
be.
maybe two.
I was a much
Fingers
bigger
crossed
fan
for
of
two.
inside the NBA from like 2010 to 2017, and those
Way back.
those.
That's very specific.
I
Way
mean, yeah.
What made those years stand out?
I think when like Kevin Durant went over to Golden State,
Jesus Christ.
they became a very curmudgeon-y like show. Like they became kind of like they became a little bit angry at like what's happening to the league and all the players. And then that's really when they started to like barrel in on everybody is soft and they're all flopping and
They weren't wrong.
like they felt like they could make fun of these guys a little bit more and it worked for them. But like 2010 to 2017, where they were just kind of like foolishly dumb idiots, but they came by it honestly and made great television. Like that
Are they
was
doing the
peak.
same thing in 2025?
I don't think
They
it's
were
the
doing
same
the same
thing.
thing
I
in
don't think it's the same
2005
thing.
and 2015 and 2025.
Dude,
It's just
you
we
don't-
all get butt
you
hurt in
don't-
our feelings now. And
With it, they're
See, I'm breaking my rule.
They are the entertainment with a little bit of basketball sprinkled
Mhm.
in.
I'm breaking my rule right now, though, because I'm saying that things are better in the past than they were now. Because I get annoyed when people are always like, "Oh, the NBA was better in the '90s, and everything was better in the
Nice.
and the Daytona 500 means less to win now than it did when
Apex
you
jackets
won
were
it in the
amazing.
2000s." Shout out Tony Stewart.
I mean, now you just don't have NASCAR drivers or Winston Cup drivers smoking while they're driving. I
Exactly.
mean, things change.
you don't even have
Um,
Winston ads
now-
on the scoreboard.
But now they're going to go to a network where they don't really like to talk ball.
The greatest quote from TNT was Charles Barkley being like, "I'm not going to ESPN. They're not going to work me like a dog and not pay me." And now he's going.
Well,
He may be.
I think he is going, but he will not do the car wash.
You don't think he'll be on ESPNU?
Nope.
No.
ESPN
Nope.
Deportes?
Nope. And you know what? If you're ESPN, you acquire Barkley because you want him to be on your platforms, and he's like, nope. The only one of the crew that seems reluctant is Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith seems reluctant to make the move. So it'll be a sad thing because it's the one show that you cannot replicate, that the
No.
chemistry is unbelievable, and that people that I know that don't watch the NBA on a regular basis will make sure, especially on Thursday nights when they carry their Thursday night doubleheader after that West Coast game at 11:30,
Yep.
they're either waking up or they're staying up to watch Inside the NBA because the later it goes, the crazier it gets, and you get viral moments. But people have tried, and TNT. If
ESPN
you
tried
compare
and
if
they
you
just gave
compare
up.
you compare TNT's NBA and NHL presentation to the ESPN,
Oh my!
not even close.
No, it's not.
It's like
and the-
Destin versus a porta potty.
And the TNT, the TNT group for hockey, they're about as close to the inside the NBA as you can be, but no one can replicate that.
Shout out my Edmonton
Because it starts
Oilers.
with chemistry. I mean, that's the number one thing. It doesn't start with, hey, they played, they've got rings, they have this
Sure.
knowledge. It's all about those four guys sitting on
Is it-
that set. They're unbelievable chemistry.
Isn't it like TNT kind of has a formula with like they found the formula with inside the NBA and they just replicated that formula with the NHL? They're like, hey, we need the Hall of Fame. We need the like true one of the greatest of all time. We got Shaquille O'Neal.
It
Hey,
goes
let's go
deeper
and
than
get
that,
Wayne
though.
Gretzky. Hey, we need a ball buster. We got Charles Barkley. Let's go and get Paul Bissonnette. And then they have some really, really smart hockey like guys like Henrik Lundqvist and Colby Armstrong, which is kind of like the Kenny the Jet
Henrik
Smith.
Lundqvist, by the way, does not age.
He's Swedish.
Swedish, like black don't crack and Swedes don't age.
No, they look Swedish
that
people
a
are
phrase?
always
IKEA
Look
furniture.
that one up.
Swedish people are
Seriously.
always just pristine. They always have great skin and good jawlines
Wow.
and phenomenal hair. I don't know. Go up to northern Minnesota for a summer and you'll see where all the Swedish people.
Dan, are you
immigrated
listening
to.
up there in the UP? Can you chime in on this on the stream?
I'm telling you right now, in that northern Minnesota area where all those Vikings came down, they came through Canada and they settled down in the Americas.
Jim
Mhm.
Marshall.
Good Lord.
Not Swedish.
Good Lord. All blonde haired, all blue eyed, all tall. It's crazy. It's crazy.
and you probably stand out like a sore thumb.
I'm the opposite. I'm a small, brown-haired, brown-eyed Latin man.
Coming up next, Paul Allen joins us.
So last night,
Paul. How about northern Minnesota?
Kegs fever took over Warner Park. Jack Caglione made his debut at Warner Park, his second week playing with the Storm Chasers. He went 0 for 5, 3 strikeouts, but looked really good at first base. And there was a buzz every time that he either had a ground ball hit to him, or he was coming to the plate, or he took a swing. And I tweeted out the picture in right field, the people that were sitting on that berm. Whenever he'd come to the plate, every single person would stand up, waiting for a home run to come. So if you weren't able to get out to Warner Park last night, it is 2 straight weeks. It's a 12-game homestand, and you're going to want to do it sooner than later because Rusty Kuntz is in town for 2 weeks, and he's in town for Caglione. And
weather's improving, too.
I think because, you look with the Royals and their lack of offensive productivity, if Jack Caglione has a good 2 weeks here, he might be gone before the All-Star game. I think it says a lot that Rusty Kuntz is here, kind of watching him, because they'll go, "Is he ready, Rusty?"
Yep.
And Rusty will say, "Yep." And then Jack Caglione will be gone from Omaha. So you got 2 weeks. But last night was a little crazy.
It was cool.
It
was cool.
I haven't seen something like that in a long time, where the media attention. You had Matt Foster, formerly of KTV. It was great to see Matt last night. Came up. Stephen St. John, the morning show host on the Blowtorch, WHB 810. He was up here.
Satilli was there.
All of Clayton was there from Channel 6. Adam was there from Channel 3.
Chase from 1011 in Lincoln.
How about that? Yeah, I've not. You don't very rarely you see that, but you saw it firsthand. It's wild. Like there's such a buzz about Jack Caglione.
There were people. So I was walking back. I was getting a hot dog. This was during his 4th at bat, so they had to go in a big inning for him to go ahead. I made a Chicago dog. It was great. Went over.
How'd you make a Chicago dog there?
Okay, you can build your own dog at Warner Park, and you can ask for tomatoes and sports peppers, and then you grab the relish and the mustard, and then
they didn't give you pickle slices.
You can do for $3.50. You can get a pickle and an onion, and then you can make a full Chicago dog.
Nice.
I didn't need the pickle and the onion. I just went sport pepper, tomato, mustard, relish, whatever.
The more economical.
His 4th at bat, there were people who were getting concession stands because they didn't think he was going to come up for a while because he batted the inning before. There were people literally sprinting to the concourse when Jack Caglione's name got announced so they could watch his at bat, running as fast as they could.
All right, I'm just going to cut the line here.
So he's going to play first base. He's going to play right field. The other part of him being here and last night, so we were discussing this in the press box, is when he hits his first AAA home run at Warner Park.
Yeah.
And because I recognize him, there are collectors, and they were out in full force last night. They were on the walkway to the clubhouse trying to get autographs, and he was pretty good. He signed autographs, but because of the netting down the lines, it's a little bit tougher to just walk up to the railing and get an autograph. But the collectors were there last night. But there was probably the average age of the walkway in right field with people standing, I would say probably 45 to 50 years old. And they're collectors. What would you do with the first home run ball at Warner Park off the bat of Jack Caglione? What would you want from him?
I want a signed bat.
Okay. That was kind of the general people I'd like a bat.
Yeah. Or if I had
Pepper said he'd like a kiss on the cheek.
Was he serious?
Yes.
Okay. You know what? That checks out because I don't think that he would need material things. I don't think Happer would be hanging up a bat or a jersey. He would just be like, "Yeah, he kissed me on the cheek. He's a close personal friend."
But people, I think people were like, "Yeah, I would want I would want a bat and a selfie with him."
Can you imagine if someone was like, "I want $50,000"?
Well, so Terrence Gore. Do you remember Terrence Gore?
Yes, I do remember.
So Terrence Gore's lone professional home run was at Warner Park, and there was a fan that caught it.
Okay,
and he was in the collecting world.
Jeez.
And they held Terrence Gore basically hostage. They wanted his shoes from his home run, his batting gloves from his home run.
Oh my God.
And his bat to get the ball back.
No.
And somebody with the Royals that works with the Storm Chasers, I think they gave this dude a bat. not the one that he used
Sure.
to get the ball back, but it was like ridiculous. I mean, come on, it's Terrence Gore.
There's a certain like point where it's like, hey, we're all humans here. This guy wants a piece of memorabilia that he worked very, very hard for. I would say signed bat, and if I was an owner of like a rookie card of Jack Caglione, like if I already had the rookie card, I'd be like, hey, do you mind just giving this a quick sign? That would be my two things, and that's it. I think that'd be incredibly fair.
Well, it's pretty cool. The fans were excited last night. It's good to see. You got 2 weeks at home. They have the Twins affiliate for the rest of the week, and then the Cubs, the Iowa Cubs, come in. But if you're waiting to go see them, you better hurry up, because I'm thinking this homestand they will make a decision on what they're going to do with him after they're done with now the next 11 games.
So you talked about the people at the berm in right field when he came up to bat. What was even funnier about all the people being up there on the berm was how they were acting like actual outfielders in the game.
Yeah, that's how the picture, people were in stances.
It was incredible. Like it got to the point where I was just watching them out there. They would be all standing up, looking around, whatever. Then the pitcher would get set. They would bend their knees. They'd put their hands down. They'd be like red. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is funny. You got 15 outfielders out there. Everybody had gloves.
Never seen it before.
It'll be a bloodbath when that ball gets out there.
Oh.
I think tonight's on a dog night. It hits a dog.
Nice.
Well,
not hitting a
then
dog.
This is what I was.
Dog.
So watching all those people out there, I was thinking, wouldn't this be awesome if he went oppo? People in left field are not ready for it, and all of a sudden, here comes a Caglione home run.
Can you imagine if there's 0 people over there? You see the mad sprint.
Yeah. If you listen to any Kansas City radio, so the Kansas City guys were up yesterday.
They weren't just talking about the Chiefs for once.
Well, their access to the Chiefs is limited. So even though the Chiefs are in OTA and the Royals aren't playing really well, the Caglione discussion, because one of the Kansas City people was telling me this last night, the Kansas City discussion on sports talk radio about Caglione is out of control. Like the Royals might win a game 3-1, and they're like, can you imagine if Caglione was here? They might score 5. Mm-hmm. They might score 5 or 6.
That's got to be exhausting.
And they talk about it nonstop now. Matt was telling me. He said it's like from 6A to 6P on Kansas City Sports Radio, they're talking about Caglione and when he's going to be in Kansas City.
Each show has their own Caglione
Like last
segment?
night, I would have thought that Stephen St. John came up here and he was going to take Caglione back to Kansas City. He was like, that's our guy. Omaha? Nope, that's our guy.
It was, I'll say this. I'm not surprised he went 0 for 5, okay? Because the amount.
Very good play.
He got struck out 3 times. The first strikeout, he got caught looking on a high off speed, which, okay. And then his second strikeout, he was fishing. And, I mean, he got sawed off in the second half. He did not look good. But I'm not surprised because the amount of people that were there.
Play first base.
The amount of cameras that were in front of his face. And it's not like.
Also, when he would come up, you were talking about the people at the concession stands going to the concourse to watch. When he would come up, everybody pulled out their phone.
Yeah. And everybody started cheering. Nobody was clapping when Diego Castillo went up to bat. But when Jack Cat, the whole place, it didn't stand up, but it was very clear. They're like, let's go, Jack. And then he would.
Hey, good guy, man. His pregame chat with the media, other than he was confused because he thought the Storm Chasers played downtown, because that's the only ballpark that he knows.
Yeah.
And you would think in a city of Omaha, why would they have 2 ballparks? You don't come to the College World Series and they say, hey, when you're not here, the AAA team of the Royals is here. So he thought that downtown was where the Storm Chasers played, and he was a little bit surprised that they were out in the burbs. But he is going to be a star, and they will love him in Kansas City. You pair him with Bobby Witt Jr., who's kind of skittering a little bit. They'll have a very likable core group that will be a nice transition when Salvi hangs it up. But if you got a chance to get out there, do it, because he won't be here very long, and he is a spectacle to watch.
He walks like a pro. He just kind of conducts himself like a pro.
Jack Tawney.
I know everybody hates the whole he looks the part. Oh my God, he looks the part. But
he does.
He does.
All right. A little bit later, John Walker looks the part, talks the part,
is the part.
Yes. Creighton leaves today to go to Arkansas. A regional that has 3 teams that have 41 or more wins. Nebraska goes Chapel Hill to find out, why is Pablo Torre so obsessed with Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson.
He's suing him now. I love Pablo. Okay, even before this whole podcast that I didn't even know he had until like 2 weeks ago. It's getting weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's low level. I'm desperate to keep my name out there. I don't know what his obsession is. So we'll talk about that with John Walker and Brandon Vogel still to come on Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. You're looking for somebody that can take care of residential roofing, roof repair service, commercial roofing. Look no further than the MVPs of roofing in Omaha, Moose Roofing. Pat and his crew, they've been in business for nearly 30 years. Blood, sweat, and tears, hands-on. That's what they do at Moose Roofing to take care of you, the most important person that wants to take care of your most valuable asset, your home. They just don't show up and put a roof on. Now, that would be very odd if they just rolled into a neighborhood and your roof doesn't need it, and all of a sudden the Moose Roofing people are on there. No, what they do is when you schedule an inspection, their consultants come out. They take the time to get to know you and your roof, and then they get on your roof and they figure out what it needs that will take care of your peace of mind and save you thousands over the lifetime of your roof, also on your siding and gutters. They have been in business, as I mentioned, for nearly 30 years. Why? Because their product, their customer service, their reputation. They're here before the storm, during the storm, and after the storm. They're bricks and mortar. They're not a place that just rolls in to a community that has been hit hard by a storm on wheels. No, they're here all the time. Plus, one other thing, they go the step further. I've seen this firsthand from Pat. They will get on the phone with your insurance company. They'll say, not today, my friend. That's not the right thing to do to help you work through those increasingly difficult insurance claims process. Top to bottom, it is an MVPs of roofing in Omaha. It is Moose Roofing. To schedule an inspection today and to learn more about Pat and his fantastic crew, go to the website, mooseroofing.com. All right, if you're into this thing, this is a schedule release week. Thursday, which is tomorrow, with a short week after the holiday, will be a big schedule release for college football. Tomorrow, we will know the Akron and Houston Christian kick time
Pins and
and
needles.
network, and if Nebraska is going to play on a Friday night or not. But today, the Big Ten will announce their conference schedule for volleyball. I would think that also today, Nebraska will announce their entire 2025 volleyball schedule, which is fun. Volleyball. My one wish, listening to Troy Dannon speak last night.
They would name something after you in that building?
No, there's nothing in that building that I would even be close to. Not even a urinal.
I think you could swing a urinal.
No. I have, the old Devaney Center I spent more time in. The new John Cook Devaney.
The Terry Pettit Court, the John Cook Arena
Mark
at Bob
Manning,
Devaney Sports
yes.
Center.
I have not spent as much time there. But I just hope this. So, right now, the goose is well stuffed. We're doing well with volleyball. And I think volleyball is setting up to have a monster year. The vibe is a little bit different. There's more jokey Smurfs.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're also extremely talented. Like,
there you go.
John Cook left some people, when they leave a job, people say, well, he left the cupboard bare. Well, some people actually steal the cupboards. Okay. And then as a new coach, you're screwed. Like John Cook, he left all the plates and cups in a really, really good spot. And you know what? He went out and added some cups and some plates, and he put in some nice china. So Danny Busboom Kelly, just like John Cook did, is walking into a great situation. So I think they are poised for a monster year. But one thing I hope for the loyal fans that have been there from the days in the Coliseum when they were scratching their backs on the bricks, I know it's very tempting to up ticket prices, donation. They're doing some stuff with the arena. They're adding seats. They're moving some people around. I just don't mess too much with that, because the people that support volleyball are usually the same people that support women's basketball, the same people that support softball, and they are loyal as can be, and they're the same fans that have been there for 25 plus years. Just let's make sure we take care of them before we take care of the newbies that have just jumped on in this recent run of domination by Nebraska volleyball. That's my only request.
I like Troy Dannon.
Hot take.
I like Troy Dannon.
You heard it here first.
Hot take.
I like Troy Dannon a lot.
He's moving up the power rankings of the ADs at Nebraska that are not named Eichhorst and Peterson.
I appreciate just kind of how honest he is about the whole. He's like, look, I know that some of you don't like the red field. I know that some of you aren't going to be happy with reseeding. I understand it. I get it. I can't make everybody happy, but we need to do what's best for the athletic department. Here's are the reasons that this is best for the athletic department. I hope you can forgive me. This is what we got to do. I like the fact that he's just like that, as opposed to trying to like beat around the bush or not fully explain things, or is trying to like save face in some certain way. I have so much respect for the guy, for people who are just like, yeah, like, I get it. You may not like me, but that's kind of, I got to do my job. And like,
you know who was like that? My favorite athletic director of all time at Nebraska, Bill Byrne.
Yeah. And
Bill Byrne, ironically, was in the power chair when they had to make a transition to bring Nebraska athletics up to current day. Dannon's kind of in the same thing with everything that's going on, from revenue sharing to the stadium. And they share a lot of similarities. Now, Bill's ego was kind of big. I don't think spending time with Dannon, he doesn't strike me as a guy that has a monster ego.
I can see behind closed doors. Like, I get the sense that maybe behind closed doors,
I think everybody has an ego. Everybody has an ego to a certain extent.
He could put the hammer down. Like, we've never seen him really have to put a hammer down in front of the public and be like, hey, like, this is what's happening. And I don't like he did it very mildly yesterday, but we haven't had like,
I mean, the hammer down, like a firing?
Like
who do you think?
10 lashes in the public square?
You're a youngin', so you like the fire. We got to fire people. Who do you think should be fired at Nebraska?
Nobody.
Okay.
Currently,
Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Currently, nobody.
But you wanted to put the hammer down.
No, he hasn't had to. Like, he hasn't really had to be like
punishment.
Why? They shouldn't. They're coming
No.
off. They're coming off an incredible season where they tasted success. Some sports got a taste,
Oh yeah.
but they need to.
No, I'm not
They
saying
need
he
to
should.
swallow.
I'm not saying that he should have put the hammer down at any point. I'm just saying we haven't seen him in a situation where he has to, raise his voice or be very tempered.
We haven't
or
seen him be Doge yet.
No.
Trev Doge.
No.
I also am a big fan because he hired my friend to be the women's golf coach. Shout out to Bree.
Shout out.
Yes.
Hey, Jimmy. Shout out.
All right. This is a good morning, by the way, because you wake up and the Cubs are 13 games above 500 in a Matt Shaw walk-off last night. Just remind your friends that as you go about your day. There is an interesting dynamic about the SEC speaking on behalf of the Big Ten. Do you trust the SEC if
No.
you're the Big Ten?
No.
Okay.
not one bit.
Thank you.
Not one iota.
But they are carrying the water for you.
This
They
is
are
a
talking
Trojan
about your plan.
horse. Come on. You know it better than I do. This is the game. This is the game we play because
Don't
when
they
the,
have to trust
when
them?
when the chips get down and eventually it becomes SEC versus the Big Ten and if things go well, who's going to take the credit for things going well? It's going to be the SEC. And if things don't go well, the SEC are going to be like, well, it was your idea.
But when they've already said that, because they're out on the front line here. And again, this idea, the playoff idea, actually originated from the Big Ten. Like the SEC, this is not their idea, but because they are the most, would you say media-friendly conference?
No, I think that they know that they have an agenda. They're trying to make some noise.
Well, everybody has an agenda.
But I don't think this is them being media friendly. I think that this
But they're out in the media. Their coaches, administrators, and commissioner are out in the media more than any other conference.
Sure. But I'm saying that this maybe overall I'll be on that wave with you. But I think just specifically this Destin, Florida, like spring conference or
Happens
whatever.
every year.
Yeah, but I think they
Wonderful,
are like
wonderful
this.
place.
No, I know, but this this go around, these last couple of days, they have been pushing an agenda. But yes, I agree with you.
Or
They
we're
are a
talking about Ruby
media-friendly conference.
Well, I think everybody. So people get upset that Sankey is pushing the SEC and not for the greater good of college football. I think he's trying to balance, but isn't he doing what a commissioner is supposed to
Yes.
do?
Yeah.
You are in place because of the chancellors and presidents, and you are doing basically what they would like you to do, and that is to make them a lot of money, just like Manfred, just like Goodell, just like Bettman, just like Silver.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want Greg Sankey to be the commissioner of the Big Ten?
I'm cool with Tony Petitti.
Why?
Because I think he hasn't really made an F up. I don't like he hasn't.
But has Sankey?
Okay, so my answer.
They're different personalities.
My
there is
answer,
no doubt.
My answer to your question: if you were like, "Hey, Greg Sankey is moving toward being the commissioner of the Big Ten," I would have.
It would be wild.
I would have zero issue with Greg Sankey being my commissioner. I would have no problem. Am I saying, man, we got to replace Tony Petitti with Greg Sankey immediately? No, I'm fine with Tony Petitti. I'm okay with it. But I think Greg Sankey's doing a pretty damn good job advocating for what he believes is right in his conference. He believes that his conference got gypped last year. Okay?
Yeah.
He truly believes that Alabama should have been in the college football playoff. He's not happy that people had this idea that the Big Ten is better at football. He's not happy that the last two champions have been from the Big Ten. He's not happy that the last couple of finals have been Midwestern teams. He's
funny.
He's PO'd. He's PO'd, and he knows that he's the man who's going to be deemed responsible if college football doesn't go well in the SEC. So he's fighting for his conference and he's fighting for himself.
So the Big Ten stand up to him?
Right now, no. But I don't think that the Big Ten can think that they're going to sing Kumbaya with the SEC and Greg Sankey. Yes, they are eventually probably going to partner up, but they definitely are separate entities at this point.
I think they're the same. One is just more vocal than the other. There's probably some semblance of some cooperation between the two. There's probably some, I'm not ready to trust you yet, but I have to because we are the power brokers, and we eventually are going to break this up. So we've got to be together. There's the other part of this relationship that is mind-blowing to me, because if you go back 5 years ago when Kevin Warren was in charge of the Big Ten and Greg Sankey was doing his things, and Greg Sankey kind of saved college football. I mean, he did. Kevin Warren didn't want to play.
No.
And I remember Sankey telling stories about all the commissioners would be on these calls together, and Kevin Warren would offer nothing. Or when there was a decision to be made and they wanted to include the Big Ten, Kevin Warren would ghost him. And, then it created a rift between the SEC and the Big Ten. Tony Petitti coming in, and maybe this is one of the reasons his personality, why he was hired along with his incredible resume, is he's going to get along with Greg Sankey. He's going to have to play nice with Greg Sankey.
So
I just think it's new school against old school, but they've got to go to the same school.
If the SEC,
because the SEC is new school.
Sure.
The Big Ten is old school, where we don't put our business out in the streets. We do things behind closed doors. But when we do things, we move mountains.
Yes.
Where the SEC is like, you know what? We're the new, where everything is out there for the public to consume. We're showing you all the different little things. But at the end of the day, both of their parents are going to drop them off at the same school, and they're going to walk into the same hallway, and it's going to be a school that only includes the SEC and the Big Ten.
If the SEC could put a bolt on the head of the Big Ten right now, do you think they would?
Whoa.
Meaning.
Hold on.
Did it just get dark here?
In a hypothetical world. So let's just allude logic real quick. Let's say hypothetically, the SEC had an opportunity to take Ohio State and Michigan and even Penn State from the Big Ten and make them SEC schools. Hypothetically, they had that opportunity, which would eventually kill the Big Ten. Do you think Greg Sankey and the SEC would take that opportunity to do it?
I don't play in hypotheticals.
Okay.
So
I think so. For me, you don't have to answer. I think yes. I think absolutely.
So why? But then I would counter that with, why would those three big schools leave the Big Ten? They make more money than the SEC.
Okay.
And they are attached to the Big Ten. Two of them are attached from day one.
The point being, I don't think that you can convince me that if the SEC could just have the entirety of college football be the SEC and Greg Sankey be the commissioner, and it just run under all their umbrella, and the original Southeastern teams have, a bit of an advantage because they were there first, that they wouldn't take that. Okay.
See, I don't think they can exist without each other now. They've gone too far down the path. The Big Ten needs the SEC, and the SEC needs the Big Ten more than ever.
More than ever, yeah. More than ever, absolutely. I don't think we're there yet, if I'm the Big Ten, that I can implicitly trust just another conference with my motivations and getting done what's best for me. I think if you want to get done what's best for you, you got to get it done yourself.
Well, that's why I'm okay with I'm a fan of Greg Sankey. I think Greg Sankey does a great job because he's about his league. You know what? People say, why can't you be for the greater good of the sport? Well, I'm not the commissioner of college football. I'm the commissioner of the SEC, and I don't care. I got thick skin. I'm going to do what is best for me. Tony Petitti is doing the same thing. He's just not doing it as public.
The greater good of the sport is a hunk of baloney. Okay?
In what way?
We are way past that. The genie is out of the bottle.
So this is coming from the fans, though, where the fans have a voice. I know people say, hey, listen to what's happened to the SEC, fan. Don't fall for any of that stuff. Well, what role does the fan have in this?
Zero.
I mean, they're still going to...
Unless you're a donor.
We're going to buy the tickets. We're going to watch the games, whether it be in your house or in your stadium. We're going to support our alma mater. We're going to support our favorite thing. It's a weird dynamic that we're entering, that at some point, I think it has to smooth out, where you can just get back to watching football and all the chairs are not moving. But I think we're a long way away from that until we have a separation where we have, let's just call it the Big Two, and it's official. It's not speculated. It's official.
The genie is out of the bottle, and you have to do what you have to do in order to survive. Okay, Greg Sankey's going to do that. Tony Petitti's going to do that because you know what? The Pac-12 died. The Pac-12 didn't move. The
Pac-12 died because of poor poor leadership.
Exactly, which is why Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti have to be strong leaders and have to do what they believe is best. I'm sorry that it may not align with what you believe as a college football fan, but they were given a job, and that job at this point is survival.
I don't know if they have survived. I think they're prospering.
Well,
I look at them checks.
Sure.
I think the ACC and the Big 12 trying to find a way to survive.
It's dim. It's dim.
All right, a little bit later, John Walker. Brandon Vogel's got a lot of thoughts on this stuff. He loves talking about this kind of thing. Remember when it was just that time in the summer, who's going to be moving to which conference? Don't you miss those days? What happened to Florida State and Clemson coming to the Big Ten or the ACC? What about Notre Dame?
2030, baby.
Those were such
2030.
Those were such better days.
2030.
All right, we're back with more Gary and Matt after this. Canadians are better than us.
No, they're not.
Correct.
Their anthem is so much better than our anthem. The way they sing their national anthem is so much better than we sing their anthem. Could you go in the middle of a crowd wearing a Dallas Stars jersey and sing the national anthem, and it would be received well? But if you go to an Edmonton game and you put on a Edmonton Oilers sweater and you go in the middle of the crowd and they put the spotlight on you and you have a microphone and you stand up and you belt out, "Oh, Canada,"
It's a banger. It's a banger.
there are things that we have
It's
much better than Canada, but their anthem and the way they sing their anthem. And when it comes to hockey and singing the "Oh, Canada," they do it much better than we do.
Isn't it an easier song to sing? Oh, Canada.
Yes.
I feel like the Star Spangled Banner.
the healthcare's nice, too.
Okay, so that's a great question. The Star Spangled Banner is a very difficult song to sing.
Yes.
Professionals have even said that. "Oh, Canada," not so much.
No. It's just one. It's kind of one note. Oh, Canada.
Jimmy has been telling me that life is easier in Canada. Run for the border.
Have you guys been to Vancouver?
Looking at my medical bills for the past 2 weeks.
Unbelievable.
I hear
Gorgeous.
every time I had a friend go to Vancouver, and he's like the fifth person to ever tell me that Vancouver is like the greatest place on earth.
I don't
What
know.
does
I'd say the
Disneyland?
greatest place on earth. It is very picturesque. It's now, there's a lot of people that have moved there.
Yeah.
He was on a bench,
Which
and he
worries
gave
me, 'cause
he
I don't
gave
like
me a
people.
call.
Yeah?
And he was like,
Was
"Yeah,
he standing there watching the couple kissing during the riots after the Vancouver-Boston Stanley Cup?
have you seen that 30 for 30?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great 30 for 30. It's one of the
Wonder
better
how that
ones they've
couple's
come up with
doing.
Sucks to
recently.
lose in Game 7.
He was sitting on a bench.
He was sucking face, that's for sure.
Somebody won.
like we're back at Zesco's.
He
was
hasn't
sitting
seen
at-
that video, has he?
Now I have.
Oh,
Zesco's.
my
come on.
Ed Orgeron video.
Yes. It's a great video.
Ed Orgeron look-alike.
I mean, allegedly. Allegedly a lookalike of Ed Ogeron.
Eh,
Hey, our Tigers are coming back this year.
not Tigers.
He was
I'll be
speaking
scoring outside Zestos.
he was speaking Louisiana French to a guy. Highly impressive. Bilingual Ed Ogeron. What's he doing? Is he just chilling off of his buyout money?
I don't know, but
at the beach.
nobody made as big a deal with who he was dating compared to Belichick. Orgeron actually, she was 19?
Yeah, but she didn't like get CC'd on all the emails and become the, COO
'Cause
of
he
Ed
was-
Ogeron LLC.
Because he was unemployed.
Yeah. And hey, that's a real one. He was unemployed and she stuck with him.
Seeing a lot of responses from Big Ten media that Valentino's is still at Memorial Stadium. That means the post-game pizza will still be out there. If you missed any of the playoffs, whether it be Edmonton striking down Dallas last night, now Dallas is going to have to win 3 in a row, but it'd be nice if Dallas ever showed up for the first period in this series. Everywhere you look, the conference final series are 3-1. Oklahoma City, wear them shirts tonight. They have a chance to close out Minnesota unless Anthony Edwards goes LeBron.
So
Baby LeBron.
my prediction.
Baby LeBron. Baby LeBron. He went on the road and won a big game early in his career. That would be Mr. Ant-Man, who did not play very well in Game 4.
He looked dejected in game 4, especially at the end of the game. Like he wasn't, it was weird. It was weird.
I hope he wasn't like high-fiving people.
No, but
We lost, right to bloody.
he tried to get open.
Ray
on,
J.
What? How did Ray J get in there?
Great video.
Celebrities.
As I was saying, which by the way, is a biopic. A biopic is when the person is dead, right? Or is that when they're alive?
I'm trying to think. Most of them, well, no, I don't think they have to be dead.
Okay. They don't have to be?
Just public or historical figure.
Okay. Because Timothy Chalamet was telling Ernie Johnson that he was going to play him in the biopic. And I didn't know if biopic meant dead or not. And I was like, that's kind of rude to be like, when you die, I'm going to be you for money.
Quick text here. This is a double Bernie for you. Because now it's Seat Yourself Day down in Lincoln for season tickets. Nebraska isn't doing anything that makes it worth buying tickets. If football doesn't win big soon, not sure it's worth it. Odds of me ever seeing a second half drop tremendously. For the last 20 or so years, the first 5 minutes of the third quarter have been used to decide if it's worth going back in for the fourth. Well, now you can't because there's no reentry. More often than not, the answer is no. And he says, my problem with Greg Sankey is he's like live golfers saying they're doing it to grow the game. I'd actually respect him if he said the SEC and the Big Ten care about themselves and money and don't care. We've ruined college athletics.
I totally
You should
agree.
say that. I would respect
totally
that.
agree.
Just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
No reentry, which is still wild that still existed at Memorial Stadium, but not this year.
There's going to be a lot of upset people.
You can't go out to the parking lot and fire up the tailgate at halftime anymore. You got to stay in the stadium. You're either staying or you're going. No reentry. Still is crazy that still was a thing post 9/11.
I love the powwow. I love the little parking lot tailgate powwow. Oh, you talk about the first half, then you go right back in.
This is on you, students. All right, 2 more to go on a Wednesday of Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. Oh, this is perfect for what I want to mention. So, unique voice, correct?
Very. Is this Bobcat Goldthwait?
Yes. His greatest hits.
I'm kidding, guys.
Jimmy was right. He was validating you.
Is this actually Bobcat Goldthwait?
Jimmy?
Yes. It's part of his greatest hits.
I thought that was sarcastic. I didn't know I actually got that right.
So very unique voice, correct?
Very.
I think he just Kellen to board you. Are you familiar with Jocko
Willink?
Yes.
I have a book. I've read Jocko Willink's book on discipline, and actually very, very useful for my life.
So for people that don't know, motivational speaker, but he's a retired Navy SEAL officer. I first came onto him when he was doing a podcast, but as you mentioned, he's an author, leadership instructor. TikTok has been really good for him.
Very good for him. YouTube was the OG for Jocko, and then it turned into TikTok. Yeah.
So Jordy Ball is not the National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
She did not win and lost to a player from Arkansas who did not have 20-plus home runs or 20-plus wins this year. And that seems like
ridiculous. Dumb.
Yeah. But
incorrect.
But she's not the Player of the Year. And if you're wondering, well, Arkansas must be in Oklahoma City. They are not. So all I could think about when I saw that come across my timeline yesterday, between all of the college football people fighting, was Jocko. You know, he has the line of
good.
Yeah, you didn't get that promotion. Good. Be better. And all I could think about is the year of Jordy Ball, 2026. Cold-blooded, determined, scorned, a desire. Good.
You lost to Tennessee. Good.
Yeah, didn't get the National Player of the Year. Good. Get better.
You didn't get to Oklahoma State. Good.
That's all I can think about.
There's somebody just entered the transfer portal. Good.
One of your teammates did. I think that was okay yesterday.
Yeah,
I think
that's fine.
That's all I can think about. Jocko.
My ex-girlfriend introduced me to Jocko Willink.
Like a chair in the corner introduced, or
Jesus. Jimmy.
Hello,
Jimmy.
Told you we're back.
Hello,
Jimmy.
Go back to figuring out.
Yeah.
If everybody's going to wear the T-shirts in Oklahoma City tonight, okay, for Game 5.
No, she gave me the book on discipline, the Jocko Willink book on discipline.
No. How did we get to that point?
Because I guess I was an undisciplined human.
How much older was this person?
We were the same age. We were in high school. She was 18. I was 18.
And she gave you the book?
Yeah, she got me a book.
Was she very controlling?
Irish.
Well, I don't care if she's Irish or she's Jewish or whatever. Is she controlling?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's what she wanted. Like did she manipulate you?
No.
Did you feel threatened?
No, because I was too much of a dunce to be manipulated. Like I was just
maybe you didn't know it, but you were.
Maybe. Was
she mind you?
No, I don't. I won the divorce, which was good. Like, because we all had mutual friends, and then we broke up, and like she tried to separate them from me, and then I ended up getting them all.
Did she ask for the book back?
No, I still have it. I actually brought the book to Omaha
so you won.
No, it's actually a great book that has like been very fruitful for me. Like you read it, and like there are very good lessons about discipline and like getting out of bed and not hitting the snooze button and facing adversity, and like there's breathing techniques for when you have stress and anxiety. It talks about sleep patterns. Like
we may have to talk after the show.
No, it's actually it's a great read. There is like a handwritten love note in there, which is a little awkward when I read it because we're no longer together. But it's one of the better pieces of literature that I've been given. Your exes give you a lot that lasts in life.
I'm not touching that one.
Some
I have a quota.
Other gives you books.
Not the same, by the way.
Jimmy Dugan once gave advice on those kind of things.
Chris writes into the Equitable Bank inbox. He said about the punter, learn yourself some Archie. Archie Wilson is the rugby-style Australian that's going to be joining Nebraska. He says the good news, if he doesn't work out, we can just have him deported, which will save us a scholarship, and then we can have immediately give it to a better punter.
Whoa.
That is
Whoa.
that's morbid.
I don't think that would happen, but I thought I would read the email. But I should mention this. So remember, Nebraska has had an Australian punter before. Let me take you back. You ready? It was a Saturday night, September 26th, 2021.
Oh.
Let's all go to Spartan Stadium.
Stop.
And let's talk about the last time an Australian punter was in the news, shall we? Okay.
That was my first.
Thought we were gonna play the fun way back game.
That was my first like, wow, this is this program moment.
So, what was worse with special teams? 2021 or 2024? Now, let me give you that night, because I said earlier, most Australian punters work out, correct?
Most, yeah.
Most. But I don't think people realize what kind of a special teams night that was. I think Connor Culp gets lost in the discussion because, as you remember,
he missed it. Didn't he miss it?
Well, he had missed up to that game. He had missed 7 total kicks in the first 4 games. But
the Oklahoma game,
that night against Michigan State, he made both of his field goals.
Okay.
Now,
attaboy Connor.
Granted, I believe that both were from 28 yards. But when you have missed
you gotta
7 total kicks over the first 4 games, making 2 field goals and your extra points was a big thing. And you're like, Nebraska's got the special teams figured out. But can we discuss, let's take a groin kick together here. Put on the cod piece if you'd like. The 2 punters that punted that night. William Bristip, he had a 28-yard kick. Now, I would take a 28-yard field goal over a 28-yard punt. But let's also be fair here. William got to punt again. He had a 7-yard shank.
Attaboy.
Now, here we go. Then comes the Australian.
Yeah, calling the Aussie. Our Toyota call to the pen.
Daniel Cerny. Let me just revisit something. 4 minutes left to go in the game. Damon Benning and myself are in the studio here. We're getting ready to do a big red overreaction. We're like, man, this is going to be a nice win. Boy, they needed this win in a big way. Nebraska's leading 20-13, and now Nebraska has to punt the ball, and they turn it over to their defense. There's no way that Kenneth Walker is going to run on Nebraska. They're going to win this football game. And then and I kid you not, we're both in studio. Cerny rolls to his right. He was supposed to kick the ball down the right sideline because that's where the coverage was going. He instead kicked it to the left side of the field because Australians sometimes get confused about their rights and the lefts.
Yeah.
Because it goes a lot, I'm pretty sure, what side of the road they drive on.
Yeah, east and west.
Okay?
East and west.
Now, we are watching this in studio in real time, not thinking about Australian punters. Damn you.
Because why would you?
The fact that Jaden Reed caught it and housed it for 62 yards. And then, to top it off, we're playing the postgame show. And this is the exact quote from the head coach. Quote, "We've got to punt the ball. We have guys at the university specifically for the reason to punt it. And we have a couple of 10-yard punts that almost cost us. And then right when we needed it most, we kick it to the wrong side of the field. Some of the coverage guys didn't see it, and it cost us the game." That quote and that moment on Big Red Overreaction went for 90 minutes on that one specific thing.
How are the phone calls? I'm sure they were spirited on a Saturday evening.
Yeah.
Do you remember how they
So
scored?
maybe not all Australian punters. Maybe you need to draw them a diagram. Can you imagine
Well,
Foley?
he was a backup Australian punter.
Hey, can you imagine Ed Foley coaching Cerny?
Oof.
Or Connor Culp, who, everybody says, hey, when there were fans in the stands, he struggled, but when there wasn't, he was good. That's how
Sounds
bad.
like a pretty important
That's
part.
how bad special teams have been. God dang it, Mike Eckler, save us, okay? Save us.
Mike, I'm begging you. I want a punt return for 12 yards.
You know what? People went crazy when Callahan threw it on the first play of the spring game. If the first time in 2025, the year of whatever may happen in Lincoln, if they don't fair catch the punt and they actually return it, I mean, we may love Mike Eckler a long time.
Even if they get like 3 yards, if they just return the punt every time, there'll be like, oh my God, there's change.
So learn yourself some Archie Wilson. But I step back and say not all Australian punters are great.
So
sometimes you have some miscommunication. But he certainly did average 37 yards on 3 punts that night, if you were wondering.
Real quick. Do you remember how they scored the first touchdown of that game?
Michigan State?
Yeah.
It was a weird play.
Yeah.
Because Nebraska scored an odd touchdown in that game, too.
Yeah. Do you remember? It was a flea flicker. So they scored touchdowns.
It would be very much on brand for
on a
the 2021 team.
Over the head of Miles Farmer. It was a flea flicker touchdown. And then later that game, they had a punt return touchdown. And they won a game and where they didn't have a first down in the second half, and they scored a touchdown on a flea flicker.
Well, and then that became part of the streak of not doing anything in overtime.
So, oh yeah, good point. That did add to that.
Sad thing is, I've been here long enough to know that once you said you and Damon in a night game, I knew this was where this was going.
Well, the funny thing is that I also was on a post game that night on a radio station with Jeff Ekstrom. And there is a archive out there of just him and I screaming into a microphone for a good 40 minutes.
That would be a.
This is great.
That would be.
It's a hell. I'm telling you, that was my first WTF this program.
Maybe that game is a lesson for Matt Rule.
Punt it to the right.
Hey, this is how people have attacked Nebraska for years. Okay, some come by land, some come by sea.
They just wait for you to attack yourself.
Exactly. You know what? You might be a liberal. What you happen here with Nebraska is you're facing a lot of conservatives out there, and they just wait for you to muck it up. It works like a charm.
It does.
Okay?
It does.
That's how people beat Nebraska. So how about we do this in 2025? How about we reverse it? Okay? But also, I would like to see an in-depth, maybe this is a podcast one where you can just go on and on, there's so many moving parts about that game in 2021. The fiasco of how did the miscommunication of the punter go so wrong that the entire team is running down one side of the field, and basically Cerny off of his foot is playing catch with Reed, and he's housing it back the other way. And then also that game is the broken jaw of Adrian Martinez.
That did happen. Well, then the funny thing is that Adrian, it didn't fully come out that the jaw was there. We kind of heard or knew that there was something wrong, but there wasn't a whole hey, he's kind of messed up. But I don't know if you remember.
Until his head coach said so. I
don't know if you remember. He had a podcast that was going on that was very, very popular. That was the beginning of the NIL era, in which a lot of people were tuning in and listening to it because it was oh my God, a Nebraska quarterback hasn't really hasn't had this medium to talk like this, during the season and whatnot. And then he couldn't talk anymore. He wasn't doing the podcast episodes anymore because he hurt his jaw. And then you had people connecting the dots and being well, I think he actually is hurt because he hasn't released a podcast episode in 4 weeks, which is a crazy dynamic to think about. Just I think Draymond's hurt because he's not rambling on Colin Cowherd's podcast now.
So Adam jokingly brings it up, and I got to find the quote. Where is it at here?
Was that game after the Michigan game or before the Michigan game?
That game was.
Wasn't it a week after, or was it? Well, let me look. Because then we watched that game, and then we still convinced ourselves that they were a good football team.
So people were starting to get on that Adrian had broke his jaw, and Frost was asked this the week after that game, and Frost's quote was, "Ridiculous rumors. He probably had lupus or leprosy, smallpox, all these other things. He's fine."
Cholera, diphtheria. I played
Oh,
Oregon Trail.
That's better than the Uzbekistan one. That's
I mean, that's you let's give Frost some credit here on that. How many other college football coaches
can say that.
have been able to include all three of those diseases in one sentence?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he rehearsed that, or those words just came to his mind? Because I don't know if, like, I would just pick leprosy and lupus right off the top of my
And
head.
then drop in smallpox.
And then drop in smallpox.
When I was in grade school in Wood
was
River,
about-
we learned this in the classroom about the when it was
Plague.
cold. Yeah, when the people had the plague.
Yeah, we get a quote from a civics teacher. Scott was always attentive in 4th grade social studies. I mean, his Spanish flu test, he killed it.
He knew a lot about the Byzantine Empire.
All right, so Archie,
100 Years War, Scott knows how to do that. Adjusting to when Illinois goes to cover 3, don't ask him about it.
Archie Wilson, you got some big shoes to fill. So welcome to America.
Well, he can fill them with both feet. With his left and his right.
Wouldn't it be better if he was like barefooted punter?
That'd be sick.
He is an offshoot of Sid Finch. They should have built this up. They should have just leaned into this.
The first time he punts with his right foot, it's like, all right, we're going to be looking for like, oh my God, he did it with the left now. I'm going to be freaking out about it. We're going to have the binocs right on him. Which foot did he use?
Imagine if Cerny would have been ambidextrous footy.
It's just ambidextrous.
Really? It doesn't matter if it's your foot or your arm?
I don't think
because
so.
they're different.
I'm a righty, but I bat lefty. Fun fact.
Okay.
There you go. I'm ambidextrous.
Congratulations.
Ambidextrous.
A little bit later, John Walker will join us. Creighton baseball. Headed to Fayetteville today. Good regional. Down on the Hog Pen. Good matchup. One of the best, I think, on the opening day is KU and Creighton. We'll talk to Mr. Walker when he joins us at 9. Brandon Vogel stops by at 9:40. As next week, things heat up in Lincoln. Summer workouts begin.
Literally, it's going to be near 90.
That's true. Still a little foggy outside. A little gloomy.
I'm telling you.
My meteorology guys in Omaha tell me the sun will come out at some point today.
Put that line in the water. You're going to get some bites.
We're back with more Gary and Matt after this.
I know who this one is.
It's not Fats Domino.
Of all the artists that are out there that you could just throw out
Did
there,
you
you went
recently
Fats Domino?
Did you recently listen to a Fats Domino song?
Blueberry Hill's a banger.
There you go. Had him on your mind.
One of the best Super Bowl shows. Made sense.
I think
You're in
it-
Los
It
Angeles.
was pretty good.
What didn't you like about it?
It's just a little overrated. It was good. It was really good. It's in the top 5 of all time, but like it's not hands down.
No
the
one said that.
greatest
I just said it was a really good
No, I know
halftime
you,
show.
you didn't say it, but a lot of people say that.
Nothing is better than Prince.
Agreed. And I love Super Bowl 50 with Coldplay, Bruno Mars, and Beyonce.
Up with People were pretty good.
Yep.
Remember them?
Aladdin.
Justin Timberlake had one hell of a performance.
Or
So
was
did
it Janet Jackson?
Janet Jackson was pretty good.
I wish I would have.
I see
Shakira and Jennifer Lopez stole the show, though. 2019.
Yeah, no one's gonna argue that.
Did
one.
I see that
Lordy.
We can all agree.
Janet made an appearance on AMA?
Did she?
Yeah.
Did they do that?
How'd your girl not win any awards?
Who's this girl?
Who's my girl?
Taylor Swift.
Because she didn't show up.
She didn't win any. How she had her
Well, she
peak?
hasn't. I don't think any new music came out,
I
right?
think she was nominated though. She was
Oh.
nominated for multiple awards. I
I don't know. We're taking time off from the tour. We're recharging. We're spending time with our boyfriend, who is reported for OTAs, I believe, as he goes into year 13. Will he
Yeah.
be a top 5 tight end in the NFL this year?
Yeah.
People are wondering.
No, he will be.
Oh, good year.
He'll have a good year. It's hard for him not to
Hey,
be, I think.
I had to do a double take yesterday that this is Mahomes, the start of his 9th year in the NFL.
That's crazy. It was 9 years ago. I got really, really mad on one certain night on
Me
a
too.
Thursday in April.
I just randomly got mad.
I really wanted the Bears to take Solomon Thomas. I mean, he ended up being a bust as well. So, I mean, it's exactly why I'm not in a NFL front office.
Part of the Grunt Kick morning. Colin reminds everybody that Mel Tucker, who still on the run, right?
I believe so.
We haven't been able to find Mel Tucker.
I-
Michigan State is getting hammered by the NCAA, and Mel Tucker is on the run. Hey, come back, Mel. They want to take you to the woodshed.
Who's better, Mel Tucker or Carmen Sandiego? You get it? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah, I watched it.
Mel Tucker, flea flickers in 19 and 21. What would Mel Tucker be like today if Kenneth Walker had not transferred to Michigan State?
I don't think he would have needed to run away. I think he would have just gotten fired.
Hold on. He is still missing, right?
I believe so.
I haven't heard anything about Mr. Mel.
I
I know
think
Mel
he's living
Gibson's
somewhere
been
in
in
the
the news a lot.
Maldives.
So the NCAA issued a notice of allegations to Michigan State.
You look left, and Mel Gibson's on a podcast.
I mean, who isn't these days?
That's a good point. Me.
You have a podcast.
I
You
do,
could
I
have
do,
Mel
I do.
Gibson on.
Oh, okay. So Mel Tucker he responded to a lawsuit. He had been avoiding them. So, yeah, he's still out there, but
Is he not at court? He was supposed to show up to court, right? And then they sent out a bunch of orders to find him.
I have no idea. There's a guy that he leaves Georgia as an assistant, goes to Colorado, celebrating in the middle of the field in 2019, then goes to Michigan State. Like, Tuck's coming. Replaces Mark D'Antonio.
Mhm.
They think they got things turned around in Michigan State because Tuck's coming.
Wrong
Now
context.
Tuck gone. He gone.
It's like every movie ever, every spy movie ever, where they go to the woods and they find the guy.
And
How'd
the
you-
usual suspects.
How'd you find me? We never lost you, sir.
Hey, how are we doing finding the gentleman that is on the cover of EA Sports? The trailer comes out tomorrow, so EA 26. The cover was released yesterday. I'm wondering how many people could identify the first couple of rows. Like, do you know Williams? Do you know Smith?
Yeah.
You'll recognize some coaches. Do you know Love from Notre Dame? You'll recognize Reggie Bush. But if you squint and pinch your fingers together and then separate them real quick to enlarge, you will see something that's going to live forever. Colorado fans, you can't get away from us, because the gentleman who has been filmed, or I guess has had his picture taken, holding up his Nebraska license plate with Beat CU which
So
originally
good.
said beat OU. Dave Fight has a really good story on it. He interviewed the guy.
We found. Oh,
He
okay.
is, yeah, he's legit. He is a real fan.
Wow.
So he's holding up the Beat CU on the cover. You have to look, it's up in the upper left-hand corner closely.
He's right next to Smokey.
So that is real, and Colorado fans are going to have to live with that. That video game cover is going to live forever. And Colorado fans, I'm sorry. But Nebraska has made the cover. It's not Dylan.
So
It's Nebraska's made the cover of EA 26.
I can identify a decent. I think that's Sam Levitt next to Kenny Dillingham.
Let's play this game because
Yeah.
you're a ball knower.
Yeah.
Let me bring up the cover here because people are probably okay. Because Smith, when Phil Steele's magazine comes out, the national one, Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith will
Yes.
definitely be on the cover.
2 +
But-
4 = 6.
By the way, two guys that could have ended up at the same school.
That would have been crazy.
So give me.
Want to go left to right here?
All right, let's see how many of these people you know.
All right. Ryan Williams,
Hold on. There's
ahead.
let's say there's a guy next to him.
Reggie Bush.
Okay.
Okay. And then so we'll go Ryan Williams, then Jeremiah Smith, then Nick Singleton.
Okay.
Behind Nick Singleton is his coach, James Franklin.
Who got out of the dugout in Nashville or for Vanderbilt the other day?
Yeah, I did see that. Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Then it's Jeremiah Love.
Mm-hmm.
Then behind Tebow. Okay, now this is where
Now,
it
how
gets tough.
about next to Love behind Reggie Bush and Ryan Williams?
Okay. So is that Underwood?
That's Bryce Underwood.
Okay.
So Bryce Underwood, who hasn't played a game in college, is on the cover of College Football 26.
Okay. Then next to, but straddling Underwood is Kirby Smart and Marcus Freeman.
Whoa.
Side by side.
It's the X-rated version.
Side by side. Kirby Smart,
$10.
Marcus Freeman. Then next to Freeman, is that DJ Lagway?
That is correct.
Okay. And then behind James Franklin is Ryan Day.
Mhm.
And then behind Day is Lenora Sellers.
Mhm.
And then next to Sellers is Lanning.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to skip over who. That's Caleb Downs.
Yep.
Okay. Then it's Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
Then it's Kenny Dillingham.
Okay.
Then behind Dillingham is Nussmeier.
Okay.
Then next to Nussmeier is Cade Klubnik.
Yep.
And then in front of Cade Klubnik, it's Sam Levitt.
Okay. And next to Sam Levitt,
Is that Denard Robinson?
that is Denard Robinson.
Okay. So Denard Robinson, the reason why he's in this picture, for people who are like, oh, that's kind of random. The last true NCAA cover before it, went away for 10 years. I saw Denard Robinson play at Notre Dame. It was incredible.
Saw him play in Lincoln.
Who's missing
First time,
from this?
I think the first time Michigan came into play Nebraska in the Big Ten, Denard Robinson was the quarterback.
Who's missing from this?
Well, Arch Manning elected not to.
Okay.
Sarkisian is not in here.
Yep. There's one guy that probably should be in here, who notably is not in here. And his
Like
team.
a legacy guy or
Where's Deion?
no?
You got all the other coaches, and Deion Sanders isn't like just one of the guys on the cover?
No.
They don't have any Colorado.
They have obstructed seats are in here. They have mascots, but they have the Beat CU, and that's pretty prominent. That's got to be a rough day out on
It
the
is, you see it. Like, it is under the College Football 26. Like, every
Yeah.
time you look at the title, you will see Beat
out on the
CU.
Front Range. That's going to be tough today because you're gonna go and get that video game as a Colorado fan, and that's what you're going to see. Is you're going to see a Nebraska fan holding up a Beat CU license plate.
I mean,
It's going to
Toledo.
remind you about what happened back in the 90s, what happened on a September Saturday night in Lincoln.
It's gonna. I mean,
We live forever.
Toledo and Tulane have people on this cover, and Colorado doesn't, and Iowa doesn't either.
Logan Jones is not in there.
No, there was
The
no.
pride of Council Bluffs Lewis Central.
There's no
Gonna be
Mark
one of the better,
Gronowski on here.
linemen.
No Kirk. You think Kirk Ferentz said no?
I don't know. I don't know if he could work it into a schedule. There's got to be a behind the scenes of the photo shoot, right, of the main guys,
Has
because
to.
everybody else is just kind of like the license plate guy didn't go to Los Angeles to get
No.
into this.
But I don't think. I think all these guys are edited in here. I think Williams and Smith took it together. I think that might be the only people who actually took a picture together. I think everybody else, maybe Dillingham and Levitt, it looks like they took it together.
Let me look here.
You know, I love how they just have a referee.
Oh no, they did. They
they
went to
all?
the Rose Bowl.
Oh wow. They just have a referee there. Just in the middle, just standing there, just stripes with a whistle. Just very randomly with one of the sticks.
Okay, so they have
Washington State and Cal.
and they have the Indiana flag guy.
Yeah, they do. The guy with
so
the
the picture online has Mark Ingram in this. They do not have the original one they shot at the Rose Bowl back in March. Does not have Denard Robinson in it.
Denard got a little bit bigger.
There's another player. I don't know who that is. There's another player in the.
There's got to be a study on that.
The cover photo of when they did it at the Rose Bowl that doesn't appear to make the cover. Sucks for that guy.
There's we got to do a study on how like skill position players always seem to put on a lot of weight, and then offensive linemen and defensive linemen always seem to lose all the weight. And at the
post career,
post career, like the D linemen and the O linemen are always the healthiest looking people at the end, and then it's like the skill position guys are like, "Are you okay?" Like Keyshawn, I'm like, "Come on, man."
Well, like the lineman, it makes sense because you're not lifting as much or lifting that volume, and you're also not consuming 6,000 calories a day.
But they still, like Joe Thomas, though, didn't just lose muscle. Like Joe Thomas is like a very healthy individual. Taylor Lewan looks great.
Mm-hmm. He was, there's a lot of former linemen at Nebraska that once their career was over and they were not lifting for football and eating for football, they look considerably different.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they all do.
Yeah.
But so does Denard Robinson in a just a little bit bigger.
I think Denard has gone to Zingerman's a lot there in Ann Arbor.
They did not do him any favors, though, with the angle. They didn't put him on a straight up angle. Like he's like laying back a little bit. So like the double chin is definitely piercing through the image here. Like they got to give Denard they got to give him a redo. Like get him standing up straight a little bit more.
That's what he looks like.
No, I'm saying that he's leaning. Like if you lean back in a certain way, you get a bad angle.
Maybe that's what he wanted to do.
I don't think he wanted
lean back, lean back.
Just telling you, it's all about the angles, man. Look at Instagram.
Or Dreisaitl's goal last night for Edmonton. All right, coming up top of the hour, John Walker will join us. We'll talk some Creighton baseball on why Ed Service every year thought he was going to get fired. And what if he would have gotten fired 2 years ago? Also, yesterday was the anniversary of Howard Borden and Tom Corator on 1290. No. Was it? Might have been, it was 1290 Coil calling the Creighton game that clinched a spot in the College World Series in 1991.
Wow.
34 years ago yesterday.
That's
Tom
incredible.
and Howard were the
That's awesome.
voices of Creighton baseball in the College World Series.
That's awesome.
All right. Also, Brandon Vogel will join us in about an hour on 1620 The Zone. John says, I would have rather seen the sign about Sal on the cover of College Football 26.
That's
Might have been a little bit frowned upon.
yeah, maybe a little.
A couple of people are asking about the Australian punter, Archie Wilson, who will be joining Nebraska, and reminiscing about our favorite miscues as punters. Brian says,
Shout out Sean Landetta.
can you tell me your favorite Caleb Lightbourne moment?
I cannot. No, I don't have one.
So Mike
Too
Riley.
many to come.
Well, where would you start?
I don't even know. No, I wouldn't.
Who Caleb Lightbourne once said that Mike Riley called him a very unique man. I would select these two. And if I'm missing one, please let me know.
Sure.
Let's here was that. That was 18. The fake punt against Wyoming. Do we remember this in 2016? Third quarter, 4th and 10. Nebraska has the ball on the 45-yard line. Caleb Lightbourne takes off running. It was not planned. He saw Bruce Reed, 450, said that he saw the open field and he just took off and he panicked. Well, here was the problem, is that he came down about 6 yards short of the first down, and so Wyoming got the ball back. Then that might have been topped by the opening drive that Nebraska had against Ohio State, 2018. Remember this? Nebraska was in that game. That's the game that Urban Meyer and Ryan Day, after the game, spoke glowingly about Scott Frost and that offense. So Nebraska scored on their opening drive. They went 12 plays, 75 yards. The drive was fantastic. People were like, oh my gosh. They're starting to play well.
Yeah.
In year number 1, things have settled down.
Mm-hmm.
They go into the shoe. Man, they're going to pull off an upset. And then everybody remembers what happened. Because for some reason, Nebraska was going to try an onside kick.
It always turns up that way, doesn't it?
They were going to have an onside kick to the left. Lightbourne running because everybody was angling towards the sideline. Lightbourne basically whiffed on the attempt, and it went a whole yard after it hit his foot a second time. Those would be my two moments of Daniel Lightbourne's career. He also, is this against, did he slip down? He had a game, I think at Purdue, where he went to punt it and he slipped.
That's got to be the most embarrassing thing, to like lose your plant foot without being hit. Which, by the way, that Ohio State game combines two of my more favorite moments in Nebraska history. The first being when week 1 of the 2020 season, where they're playing Ohio State and they score on the very first drive of the game with Luke McCaffrey and Adrian Martinez.
Great. It was the first game out of COVID. It was awesome.
They were trading snaps. It was like, oh my God, they have a script. Like they're going back and forth. This is great. We're playing Ohio State close at the shoe. They were returning things around. And then the onside kick combines, the, what are we calling that? The tragedy in Dublin? The doink in Dublin? The duff in Dublin? Whatever we coined it as. Memories, man. It's good memories. I was going back. You know what? When Nebraska starts to win, it'll be nice when we can go back to those moments and those memories and like chuckle more at them. When we can like laugh at them. When we can be like, you know what? That was tough and that was fun, but now we're eating grapes on the top of a hill.
Jimmy, would you like to chime in there?
Grapes?
Grapes on the top of a hill?
Settle for my slice of Val's pizza.
You're on the hilltop and you're like
you've got me interested.
I went to college on the hilltop. There were no grapes.
You're eating grapes off the vine.
Red
like
grapes of wrath.
Like you're a king or like you're a queen. You're feasting on the top of the hill. You got the cheeses, you got the wine, you got the charcuterie.
That's what you choose?
Yeah. Wine.
I'm the wrong person. Happer and I would have Q39 catering that hill.
You would have Joe's Barbecue
Hell,
email you.
Yes. Ribs, burn-in, sausage. Hell, we'd do the Texas Trinity. Keep your grapes.
I'm a part of the Finer Things Club. Just feasting on the top of the hill. Once Nebraska cruises to multiple 9-win seasons and gets a couple AQs in the college football playoff as the 15 seed.
Now we have another Caleb Lightbourne moment.
Ooh.
This is from Joey. So I'm trying to find the point in this game. That was also the game where Nebraska had 12 on the field and allowed Minnesota to keep the opening drive. Here we go. So it's the second quarter. Nebraska stalls out at their own 44. Caleb Lightbourne comes out. And he kicked the ball off the side of his foot, hit Minnesota territory, bounced backwards before coming to a stop at the Nebraska 42. If you want to do the math, what is that punt?
12 yards? What?
-2. Lightbourne was asked after the game about the punt. Honestly, I don't know what happened. It kind of went off my foot wrong and bounced backwards. I've never had a punt like that before. So that was right before halftime, and Minnesota kicked a field goal. They went in the locker room 17-10.
I remember Buschini had that one shank against Colorado, and that just ruined so many things.
What I also remember about that punt is that Riley. So Mike Riley, like post game, he was like really nice. And if the winner lost, he was like, "Hey,
we played football."
So he was asked about that punt, and I remember he referenced Johnny Hecker. Remember him?
Jeez.
Who was an Australian punter,
revolutionized the game of punting.
So he
Australian style punter, by the way.
Yes,
he's very much an American man.
He kicked. Riley goes into the story about the Vegas Bowl, and he said that day he saw Johnny Hecker, like the wind was so bad, and Johnny Hecker had a -7 punt. And then he goes, "I've been coaching a long time. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it will make Lightbourne feel any better."
It's funny when you compare what happened there to like what some would consider the greatest punter of all time, and Johnny Hecker. Which, by the way, Johnny Hecker, I thought you were going to say that Mike Riley was like, yeah, he tried kicking, the banana ball where the ball is like sideways. What's going to happen in Memorial Stadium when Archie Wilson kicks a ball sideways?
I don't know that,
and it goes up against that Memorial Stadium wind.
Johnny Hecker has to be one of the better pros that played under Mike Riley at Oregon State. Stephen Jackson.
Yeah,
I think Johnny Hecker had a nice career.
Johnny Hecker benefited greatly from the Punters Are People 2 ESPN E60, which included Pat McAfee and John Ryan, and Camden Cook's father, Sam Cook. So that E60 was like massive for those guys, and like actually like evolving the game of punting to the point where Hecker like literally is, if you look at like the net averages behind, I think it's him and Cook are like the greatest net average punters ever.
More people are having remembrances of bad special teams. Archie Wilson better be really good. People are like, this is it. We got our guy.
Isn't everybody on special teams like better be really good at this point? Like there is that pressure.
Well, you have no idea. Remember, there was no public ever watching punts or kick, and they didn't do it. They worked on it, but not.
Well, one of the guys who was kicking and punting at the spring game transferred.
That is
no
true.
longer there.
That is true. And there were some missteps with kicking. So maybe it's not all cured. Can Archie Wilson kick field goals?
We got to
we know that?
We got to get Archie Wilson out in the field, and we got to put 2 kiddie pools out there and just say, hey, go ahead, give it your best shot, Archie.
You know what's crazy is that that event was just about a month ago.
I don't remember a lot from it, other than seeing John Cook try and rope down a electronic horse. That was something. That and all the quarterbacks missing the targets.
There were a lot of people at the Husker games that saw the no re-entry, and they're like, "Don't worry." When you left at halftime, after
there was halftime in that.
Yeah, then they had the bench press. That was halftime.
Oh, okay.
I think that was at halftime. So back to one thing that was mentioned last night on Dannon's radio show about no re-entry. If you really think about it, and it has a lot to do with the alcohol, so that's why they're doing it. It is crazy that has still existed, because there is hardly anywhere else in the sporting world in a football stadium that you can leave and come back.
I told you
But in Nebraska, it has been a tradition because I remember as a student, that was like a big deal. Like you would leave and you would go either to your dorm at halftime or you would go somewhere and you would drink and then you come back into the stadium and they would stamp your hand. It wasn't like scan your ticket. They would stamp your hand. That existed and that people have like plans that right when the second quarter is over or almost over, they're up out of their seat so that they can beat the traffic. They get out of the stadium. They go either to the Champions Club across the street or they go to their tailgate spot that is close by, and they open up their tailgate at halftime, and then they make the decision, am I going to come back into the stadium or not, depending on the score of the game and how they're feeling. That is a deal at Nebraska until this upcoming year. That's wild to think.
I told you off air, it took me halfway through my sophomore year to find out that was a thing. I was like, we can leave? We can come back?
How? Your friends failed you.
No, you know what? Jimmy,
I wouldn't have failed you, Matt.
There's not really.
I would have given you a pamphlet.
The problem is that they're not really tailgates to like go to unless you're like connected, like unless you know people who have those very nice parking spots in those areas. So it's like I didn't know anybody who had one of those parking spots until halfway through my sophomore year. That's really why I didn't know. And then I left, and then you come back. Now it's all about the huddle. It's all about the team huddle in the parking lot where you're all like giving each other like your opinions and strategies and like what the team needs to do better. Oh, yeah. And then you decide, hey, we're down 30. We're not going back in.
Champions Club.
I know that.
Champions Club, they tell me, is packed at halftime. People that leave the stadium, they go across the street to the Champions Club.
They must be devastated over there.
I don't know. I'm wondering what's going to happen with the Champions Club.
I've never been in. Never really been around. Haven't had the opportunity.
Matt at 1620thezone.com. Invite him.
Everybody knows.
It's a good tailgate spot. I mean, you're right across the street from the stadium. Inside, it's okay. I've been to events there that are not around football.
Compared to the Lexus Club?
Well, again, I haven't been there. So the only time I've been in the Champions Club for football is just a tailgate in the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
I've never gone like inside.
Oh, inside?
Yeah, but I've been to events inside. They can get kind of bougie.
Oh, I'm all about that. Yeah. I'm a big fan of that.
Lexus Club is, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? The Lexus Club is great. You got 2 different bars.
Yeah,
you got a
you know
full
what,
buffet.
man? It's cool. I pay $25 for a beer that I can step out with the average Joe and Jane and pay $11.
Give me my sticky floors.
I go. You go to the little stand next to the Champions Club that's got the fairy nectar, and then you grab it and you walk back in, and then you have your buffet. You get your cheese dip and your buffalo chicken sandwich.
This is a baseball game.
And then you get
you got bougie over here.
Yeah.
He does not hang with the normal fans.
I do go.
He went to the Lexus Club and he was
once.
like, I am going to Creighton games every single time.
I went to the Lexus
I'm more
Club
likely to go to a
twice,
Lexus's
actually.
club after
I
the
enjoy
game
Creighton
than
games
Lexus.
not in the Lexus Club. It's just the Lexus Club is awesome. It's just a great place to be at.
I'm here in the 92 Ford Taurus Club, missing hubcap.
1914 Club. That's an incredible club too. Probably find Ryan Sandberg in there. Everybody I know is always like, yeah, I met Rhino.
I like being with the fans. I'm one of the fans.
So am I.
I'm going to sit there.
Sit in the bleachers.
We're going to rub elbows and we're going to buy beer. We're going to buy it at normal places where, you know what? You don't feel all stodgy.
Hell yes, I'll take an old style.
Yeah.
This is America, isn't it?
You know what? I want to.
Hell yeah, Jimmy. Hell yeah, you'll take an old style.
I grab my beer where they set it on the thing and it fills it from the bottom.
That is fascinating.
I don't need some butler to turn my cap.
Only
and
Kevin
hand it
Butler.
to me.
I also rub elbows. I just scan the QR code and order my drink.
Soft.
All right, John Walker, not allowed in Lexus Club. That incident that happened early in his Omaha World Herald career.
It happens.
Yeah, to all of us.
He will join us next on 1620 The Zone. All right, we get set to welcome in potentially one day could be the face of the World Herald, but he does not have kids. Unmarried. According to Kendrick Perkins, John Walker not eligible to be the face of the Omaha World Herald, and he joins us now. Good morning.
Yeah, John, what the heck, man? What are you doing?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'm okay just being the legend slayer on my way to a couple of conference finals, hoping to punch through because, that's really laying the foundation for me to be the face one day. How are you guys?
We are doing wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little NBA, but you have to help me here. This is a bigger picture college basketball.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that are excited about a non-con game that's going on at TD Garden between UConn and BYU. And BYU, which will play an exhibition game in Lincoln because you can do that now, has the number 1 overall pick right now for next year's draft. They have a lot of NIL money. How is this working that we live in a world where BYU basketball is getting this much run?
Yeah, it's I can't remember, maybe the last time I was on here, a couple of times ago, we talked about UConn having such a big edge because of public funding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like them having a bigger alumni base than most schools in the Big East just because they are a public university. We know the demographic at BYU, right?
Yeah.
And there are not a ton of high-profile Mormon universities. And so it's really easy for all of, 1, the BYU alumni, and 2, Mormon college athletics fans to rally behind this one school. So that's where you see a lot of the support come from, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they got, not that Mark Pope had done a bad job, but they got, a little bit of an infusion, a little bit of new life with the coaching change last year. And obviously it worked out on both ends. Mark Pope made the tournament at Kentucky and BYU still made the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like you just said, they have AJ Devonsta, the assumed number 1 pick in next year's draft, and they paid a pretty penny to get him, no doubt. So I really think that's kind of where the support at BYU comes from. It's just there are not a lot of high profile Mormon universities, and so it's really easy for that demographic to get behind this one university in BYU.
The Indiana Pacers are 1 win away from the NBA Finals. It'll be their first.
Insane.
It'll be potentially their first NBA Finals since 2000, where Shaquille O'Neal averaged 38 points and 16 rebounds on his way to win the Finals MVP. If you want to go back, it's an incredible watch for those listening. I want to run down a list though of part of the Indiana Pacer roster. You have Tyrese Halliburton. He was traded for. You have Pascal Siakam. He was traded for. Obi Toppin was traded for. Andrew Nembhard was drafted by the Indiana Pacers. Aaron Nesmith was traded for. TJ McConnell was signed by the Pacers. This is a team that they have, over the last couple of years, made right move after right move in order to construct this potential championship roster. Is it a good thing for the NBA that a roster like this works and not our Phoenix Suns super teams or our Brooklyn Nets super teams or our Philadelphia 76ers super teams we've seen over the last couple of years?
I don't know if it's good or bad. Every kitchen uses a different recipe to try and make the same dish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It is different. The Lakers made it to the bubble finals in 2020 with 2 superstars and just really, really, really solid role players. That's kind of what the Pacers have a little bit, but they've built it differently. With Siakam and Halliburton. So yeah, it's been different. But I don't know if it's good or bad. It's just a different way of, again, baking the same dish that the Knicks are trying to bake, and that the other 29 teams in the NBA are trying to as well. It's just different, but I don't know if it's good or bad. It's strategic, that's for sure, because of the new CBA, like you have to stay under the second apron, absolutely. And if you can stay under the first apron, somehow, some way, that's good. But usually teams that stay under the first apron like are not this competitive.
Sure.
And I don't know where the Pacers salary cap is, but I know they're not paying all of these guys like a bunch.
Mhm.
They will soon. They'll have to soon because of this run. But like small balled their way into this probably isn't right. But there's some of that going on across the league, and a sprinkle of it in Indiana just because of the new aprons with the salary cap.
So let me read you a quote. But first, like you look at Indiana, and it amazes me that New York is not ready for their transition. And I love that Indiana with Halliburton, they're always pushing it.
Yeah.
Even if they're up 10, they're up 15, they're always pushing it. Stan Van Gundy has a famous quote, and I want your reaction to it. And you can approach it from college and pro or whatever you choose. He said that teams run based on who their point guard is, not who their coach is.
Yep.
Could you?
Coach isn't out on the floor.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, the coach isn't out on the floor. So that identity has to come from somewhere. And more often than not, obviously, it's the point guard. Let's use Creighton, for example, right? Like, not this past season, but the season before, in a Sweet 16 run, like, Stephen Ashworth, as crucial as he was as the fourth option on that team, was not the identity. You know what I mean? Trey and Baylor had the ball in their hands a bunch. And so I don't know if it's always the point guard, but it's always your primary ball handler. That's for sure. Because, as you know, Greg McDermott's not out on the floor. Let's go back to the NBA. Rick Carlisle is not out on the floor. So you kind of turn it over to your superstar. And in most instances, that's your point guard. And we saw that a little bit at Creighton this past year. Obviously, Ryan Kalkbrenner was the guy. We all know that. But especially after Pop Isaacs went down, like, Creighton kind of went as Stephen Ashworth did. And so it's crucial. We see that now in the finals with Tyrese Halliburton. Like, he had the underrated label coming in or overrated label coming into the postseason off of that survey. And, that kind of seemed to fuel him. I can't remember what game it was after, whether it was they closed the second round or maybe one of the first games of the conference finals. And he said, overrate that. So, like, if your point guard, if your superstar in this instance, if your point guard takes that mentality of, okay, we're going to prove you wrong. Like, we'd be fools to think that the Pacers as a team, as an organization, have not adopted that when they're going through a who's who of cities just to get to the NBA finals. So yeah, I would certainly think so that the team takes the identity of a point guard more often than its coach.
And then you pair it with, I think Rick Carlisle is one of the best in the business.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's been like I don't want to say slow burn, but it really has been a slow burn since he got there in 2021. And here we are 4 years later. Like you mentioned, it hasn't been an off season where they just said, okay, we're all in here. We're pushing our chips to the middle of the table. We're going to sign this guy and get this guy and trade for this guy. And we know, even though it's August, that come trade deadline in February, we have this guy in mind. We could be this away. And if we're in this position, we'll make that move if we think it's the difference, right? You have a lot of teams who will do that. I'm a LeBron guy. Like, I've seen that countless times. Okay, we think we're this away. Let's push all of our chips to the middle of the table and go get ... Russell Westbrook, right? Like, I've seen that a million times, and it doesn't work all the time.
No.
It doesn't. So the slow burn, as much as the Pacers have played with the kind of will and determination of Tyrese Halliburton this season, especially during the playoffs, the architect behind this all is Rick Carlisle, no doubt.
Yeah.
Can Tyrese Halliburton be the face of the NBA?
Oh,
I had to do it.
No.
I know it's low-hanging fruit, but I had to.
No, unfortunately not.
Why? Why?
And I hate to say this. I hate to say it. You can't on the Pacers. You can't. It's not a big
But what
enough
if they
market
win the
in my
title,
mind.
John? What if they win the title?
It doesn't matter. Like Giannis won the finals in Milwaukee, and here people are now asking if Tyrese Halliburton could be the face of the league. You know what I mean? If Giannis had won a championship in Miami, he'd be top 5 player of all time right now. That's exaggerative, obviously, but
okay.
I mean, you asked me.
So here's yeah. Let's add to this. So Giannis not being considered to be the downright face of the league, does that have to do with him being in Milwaukee, or does that have to do with Milwaukee not having postseason success since they won the NBA title in 2021?
Yeah, well, I don't know because I don't know. Simply for the fact that I think we would have to see Giannis win another ring in Milwaukee to really compare his first run and a theoretical second. But there's just there's no way. There's absolutely no way we can sit here and say being the face of the Indiana Pacers is the same as being the face of the Boston Celtics or the New York Knicks.
I agree.
And so I just don't think you can be the face of the league in a market like that. You certainly can, like SGA.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question. Out of the 4 superstars, or out of the 4 best players on teams right now, only one of them is playing in a big market. That's Jalen Brunson. Would you not say that Anthony Edwards and SGA can't be the faces of the league?
Anthony Edwards could be the face of the league, but he's not married and he doesn't have kids. And
he doesn't do well in crunch time.
Oklahoma City is a lot different than Indiana, is a lot different than Minneapolis in the sense that New York, let's take New York out of the equation because it's the New York Knicks. The Pacers still have the Colts. Indiana still has the Indy 500.
Sure.
Minneapolis still has the Vikings, still has the Twins, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Oklahoma City, that's it.
Yeah.
That is it. The same way that Creighton fans buy into Creighton so much because that's the basketball around here, right?
Yeah.
You're either a Nebraska or a Creighton fan, whichever one you are, you fully buy into that because in a sense, that's your NBA team. That's your professional team. There isn't one around here. And it's the same thing for the Oklahoma City Thunder. People love it,
Sure.
love it. Partially because they've been really, really good, except for a few years since moving from Seattle to Oklahoma City. But a large part of that, guys, speaking from experience as someone who is down there, there is nothing else. There's nothing going on this time of year. You're flipping the channels and it's Oklahoma softball's latest trip to the Women's College World Series, or the Oklahoma City Thunder if they're fortunate enough to be playing this late. And this year
severe
they
weather.
are. Yeah, or severe weather, of course. So yeah, I think Oklahoma City is different than most mid to small market organizations because of that. But yeah, long meandering way to say. I think SGA could be the face of the league in Oklahoma City. It'd be tough for Ant to be the face of the league in Minneapolis without getting to a finals, at the very least, because he has the charisma, he has the swagger. He can ball. We all know that. He's still young, but it'd be really, really tough in my eyes for Tyrese Halliburton to be the face of the league. Maybe he's the face of the Eastern Conference, but the face of the league, that's upper echelon stuff. That's probably, I don't know, 5 guys in that conversation right now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
How does Creighton get to Sunday in Fayetteville?
Got to score some runs. Creighton's pitching staff has thoroughly delivered all year, especially as the year has gone on. Dom Cancellieri had brace surgery on his UCL last July, so every appearance that he had this season, he's their ace, he's their Friday night starter. Every appearance he had this season was him settling in at the same time, and he's looked a lot more like himself through the latter half of the season. I mean, he was the Big East pitcher of the year. 6th-year guy, you should be doing that type of stuff. And he leads a pitching staff that's thoroughly delivered, top to bottom, really. So that's going to be crucial because Kansas on Friday, they scored the 26th most runs in the country. Arkansas has scored top 10 runs in the country, and Baum Walker is a hitters-friendly ballpark. I think the pitching staff's going to be huge, but there will be runs scored in Fayetteville this weekend by Kansas, by North Dakota State, by Arkansas, and we'll see if Creighton can ride some momentum from winning 21 of the last 23, winning the Big East regular season championship, running the gauntlet in only 3 games to win the Big East tournament. We'll see if that type of momentum can follow them to Fayetteville because, I think it comes down to scoring runs. They'll do it way differently than Arkansas. They'll do it way differently than Kansas. But they've got to score runs. Have to in that park against these teams.
John, death, taxes, and Creighton and Purdue getting 7-footers. The Blue Jays offered one yesterday, Ethan Taylor out of Missouri. What can you tell us about the 7-foot prospect? And is there currently any movement to get it just past him being offered?
No, a lot of these guys are just going to field offers this time of year, right? Like Jaden Kuhn out of Storm Lake was kind of the exception, if you will. You usually don't see a lot of kids that sure of their decision this early and commit and the middle of May before their senior season. Like you don't see a lot of that, but he was sure, obviously. That doesn't seem to be the case with Ethan Taylor. Again, they just offered him yesterday, so they'd obviously love to have him. But he has continued to have offers for him. I think he has one from Houston. He got a couple more yesterday. I know he has one from Houston. I can't remember where the other one is, but he has a bunch. He's going to be a high-profile prospect. Played for Mocan, which is a pretty elite AAU program in the Midwest. Trey Young played for Mocan. I think Blake Griffin played for Mocan. But it's just loaded, really. And so he's coming from a good AAU program, transferred to Link Academy in Branson, Missouri, and immediately became the highest-ranked prospect in Missouri in 2026. So that tells you what type of player the Jays are trying to go after and the type of player that they would obviously love to have. Because Owen Freeman has 2 years of eligibility left. Alexa Dimitrievich hasn't even played a minute of college basketball yet, so you're not sure. Like you hope you have this vision, right? But you're not positive of what that's going to look like in the end. So yeah, it looks like they're still pursuing 7-footers, rim protectors, to be the big guy of the future. And it's not really that surprising. That they go to down the road to try and recruit, because at the end of the day, Alan Huss is a Kansas City guy.
Yep. John, we appreciate it as always. Thanks for playing in the Bizarro World, where yesterday Trev Alberts reposted a graphic that had Pop Isaacs in a Texas A&M uniform. So welcome to the Bizarro World.
That?
Oh, how about that? Seems like a better fit, though, for him.
Yeah, it will be. It will be, especially with. And I figured as such. I woke up to that yesterday. I won't ramble for too long here. I woke up to that yesterday and said, Pop's going to Texas A&M. That must mean that Milos Uzon is withdrawing for the draft. And I think it was 15 minutes later. I said, yeah, Milos Uzon is withdrawing from the draft. So it'll be a good fit for Pop. It'll be more opportunity. Certainly more opportunity than he would have had at Houston with Uzon coming back. And what should be a pretty fun offensive system in year one of the Bucky McMillan era.
Yep, absolutely. John, have a great week. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
John Walker, not the face of the World Herald.
Not yet.
Sam McEwen would be up for that.
Yeah.
Tom Chattel.
Yeah. I think those are probably maybe Evan Bland.
Evan Bland would
during
be
baseball season
would be in the mix. So back to Creighton baseball and Ed Service. There's another part of, I asked you yesterday, why isn't this more of a story? It was last year.
Sure.
Guy that is a HOFer, head coach at KU, glowingly talked about him, and rightfully so, and they've cost pass. There's another part of the element of the Ed story that is wrapping up is, I still remember, I think it was 2 years ago, last regular season game that Creighton played downtown, and Ed is standing doing media on the field and has no idea if he's going to be back or not. Here's what I hope doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I see this, but it may factor in that Creighton plays baseball in a mid-major conference. Is, when new coaches come in, it seems like there's more money and there's more commitment. And I think that would be unfortunate to Ed, because Ed has scratched and clawed, especially moving into the Big East, to get every bit of, dollars for his program, and, probably had to cut some costs and things like that. I hope that doesn't happen, that all of a sudden it goes, oh, Creighton cares about baseball, because that would not be something.
It wouldn't be a good look. It would not be a good look.
It would not be a good thing for somebody that has given a lot to that baseball program and that university. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw it, but what would push pause on that is that you play in the Big East in baseball. Now, the schedule will be better, especially in the non-con, but I think it's, if you already didn't know, playing baseball in the Big East, it was a wake-up call on Monday. That you are in a mid-major conference where nobody is going, oh, some people are going, oh, UConn, man, you got screwed. Nobody's going, oh, man. They're like,
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 9:22. Brandon Vogel had something come up, so we'll put him on Friday. He will join us on Friday from Counter Read. But we roll on. When we come back, we'll get to some emails and some tweets. And also, if I played for the Cincinnati Bearcats, how would I feel today?
A little nervous. We'll
discuss.
Yeah.
That's something we'll do when we come back on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone is partnering up with the Wellbeing Partners in the Celebrate Your Wellbeing Photo Contest. Submit a photo on how you focus on your well-being and practice self-care. Share your story online at 1620thezone.com.
All right, tomorrow will be 13 Thursdays before Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City welcomes the Sea of Red. Why'd you chuckle there?
That's just a great way of putting it. It's just how do we get the number smaller and smaller? How do we make it seem like we're shorter and shorter away?
See, now that you are you have a job and you work,
yes,
so you don't have your summers off. You will see that after the College World Series, time just flies.
Doesn't.
Yep.
I feel like it's already been flying in a way.
So last night,
I've blinked.
Troy Dannon was
it gets worse.
asked about the ticket sales for the game at Arrowhead Stadium. So the first week, Nebraska fans bought 50,000.
Jeez.
Arrowhead seats 76,000. People don't know this. Well, Bronco fans do. It is the loudest stadium in the NFL. And it will be very loud 13 Thursdays from tomorrow. There is, though, an update. So Dannon said last night the last number he got was 62,000 have been purchased through Nebraska.
Jeez.
That does not take into account the people that directly went to the Chiefs and purchased them. And you got to throw in, there'll probably be a couple of Cincinnati people there. But if I am Cincinnati, and, this is part of the COVID, because they were supposed to come here and play with Luke Fickell as the head coach and Marcus Freeman as a defensive coordinator. It was going to be great. But COVID got rid of that in 2020. And there was the back end of a trip to Cincinnati to play in Cincinnati, which would have been really, really cool. A little bit smaller on campus stadium. Maybe they would have moved it to Paul Brown. But they were going to then move it to Indianapolis. And then Nebraska was like, you know what? How about Kansas City? Kansas City seems to be really nice this time of the year. If I'm Cincinnati.
Just us, Ichiro.
If I'm Cincinnati, like if I'm a player, I think if you're in a polo, you understand there's a money aspect part of this. But if you're a player, you're like, okay, tell me again, Coach Satterfield, I'm wearing the home uniform, but when we run on the field for our opener for 2025, which might be the last year I ever play, Coach, that we're actually playing a road game because by kickoff, there will be at least 65,000 and maybe even 70,000 Nebraska fans in that stadium. Explain that as a player at Cincinnati, that what am I getting for this?
Are they even going to know? Like really?
They will be aware.
But I don't think the Cincinnati players, there might be a chance that they're not even fully aware of how loud and how many Nebraska fans are going to be there. Because
I think if you do the math, you're like, uh-oh.
Well, if you look at the numbers,
going to be many Bearcat
look
people
at a
there.
Map.
Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, it's like, I do think that I'm sometimes in that part of that Midwestern / East Coast time zone of the country, people don't recognize the amplitude in which Nebraska fans show out to events too. They don't understand how big of a scope football is, and they might be taken a little bit off guard about how crazy that stadium is going to be on that Thursday. I mean, it's going to be crazy.
Pedialyte,
insane.
Be warm.
People will be tailgating since 8 in the morning for an 8 o'clock game.
Mm-hmm. They'll be standing out there being like, dude, why
Wear
did
a
we
diaper.
agree to this? Why are we out here? And then they'll recover the onside kick to begin the game. And then they'll have all the momentum.
All right. So let's see. It looks like, wow. Lower bowl, 50-yard line behind the Nebraska bench, $500.
That's not bad. It's bad, but it's not terrible. It's not the worst thing.
Lexus Club.
No.
Lexus Club guy.
Meanwhile, in the upper deck, it'll be smelling wonderful.
I've been looking at tickets to a lot of different events over the last couple of weeks, and
Seriously,
the ticket prices are getting crazier and crazier, just across the board, across the nation.
Seats aren't padded.
Let me see what it is right now. But Shane Gillis is coming here on Friday to Omaha, and I'm pretty sure
where's he going to be
same thing.
The Chai. He'll be at the Chai. I bought my tickets yesterday, and as soon as, of course, I buy my tickets, and then the ticket.
He's the guy from that
drop
commercial
rapidly.
with Posty, right? Bud Light commercial.
What, that is so frustrating. I literally purchased my tickets
Yes,
yesterday.
he is. He was the guy that Saban almost killed on game day at Notre Dame
That's right.
back in December.
Gotcha.
$250 is like to be like close to the stage, and then it's $300 to be like on the floor, and that's just for like a regular old.
So you're on the
B-list.
floor.
No,
No, of course.
I'm up in the rafters. I got
of the floor.
No, I got the cheapest tickets that I could possibly get, and then they dropped $14 today.
Did you buy them through a
SeatGeek.
secondary?
SeatGeek. But in SeatGeek, when they show you the prices, the fees are included.
Shout out tickets for less.
I think the fees are already included in those prices. So it was like they tell you how much you're really paying for them, which I like. But even that, like a B-list comedian. And
Whoa.
Like,
Well, I don't think he's a B-list
oh,
comedian.
I think he's a B-list comedian. I don't think there are that many.
Just because I
A-list
asked
comedians.
doesn't mean it. Bobcat was
No,
an
I think
A-list.
No.
I think
Stop,
calling
stop.
Shane Gillis
No
is
Bobcat.
a B-list is.
Watch his
He's a
stand-up.
B-list comedian. There's
Ooh.
only a couple. There's
Who
only
else would be in the B-list?
In the
Because this might
B-list?
help me figure out.
Don Rickles?
Andrew Santino,
Who?
Andrew Scholes, Bobby Lee, Tony Hinchcliffe.
Never
How
heard
much
of
did
any
you
of
pay? How
these
much
guys.
did you pay for
I
your
paid
ticket?
$54.
Ricky
They're
Vaughn.
now-
What
Willie
what
Hayes.
section?
I'm in 227, row B. That's now a $43 ticket.
I can get you one for 44.
I know, that's what I said. I bought them literally 12 hours ago, and they all dropped because my friends were like, they were originally $70 2 weeks ago. I said, hey, we'll wait. And then they were getting nervous that I was going to go back up. And then,
So he does. I'm looking at his setup. So he does a stage right in the middle.
oh yeah, 360.
Okay.
Which is why you don't really need great tickets for that. You'll just see him wherever he walks around, and then you'll just like laugh all
Going to
night.
see George Strait.
He's a B-list comedian who very well could be an A-list comedian in the future. But right now, I would consider him B-list. I would say like Dave Chappelle, A-list comedian.
Okay.
Kevin Hart, A-list comedian. John Mulaney, A-list comedian. I would say maybe Cat Williams, but he would probably be in like the in-between of the B and the A, but he's been around for so long. Rogan, I think, is an A-list comedian. Sebastian Maniscalco, he's on the A-list.
Who, by the way,
Fucking
had
got that
trouble
cleared up.
selling tickets when he was in Omaha.
Really?
They reached out to a lot of different
Damn.
places to give you tickets to go see him.
I would say that Shane is like firm, like he's in the B list. He very well
we
could
need to
be
have him
A-list.
here Friday.
And I'm not
So
surprised.
how's he become an A-list guy?
Yeah.
You
How
just
does he
keep- you
earn your
kinda
respect?
You just keep going. You just keep going. You just keep doing big shows. You keep performing really well. You keep coming up with
But
new
I think
material.
that B-list, I think like I'm not necessarily on comedians, but when I think of B-list, because that's more of a label to actors and actresses,
Sure.
that you don't recognize them. I think he's extremely recognizable.
Okay. So
So I don't know about the comedian world, but I'm like they call B-listers in the movies, hey, that's a B-list actor
Yeah.
or actress. And you're like, oh, I kind of recognize him.
I would say
Kinda
there are like
don't.
5 A-list comedians. Like I treat A-list comedians like superstars in the NBA. There's only so many of them. Like it's a really hard echelon to hit, you know? They say it's easy to take your handicap from
Yeah.
18 to 10, but it's hard to take it from 10 to 5.
So Eddie Murphy is number one,
Oh, without a doubt.
the late Richard Pryor.
Yes.
I don't know about Shane Gillis did get famous pretty fast.
I would say he's
I don't know. I call him a B-lister.
he's
He's
upper
not.
B.
He's not.
I wouldn't
he's
call
not with
him an
Chappelle
A-lister.
and,
I know he's
and
not.
Murphy, but I wouldn't. I don't think
He is
He
not.
can get you 20 and
he-
10 on a
he
given
is
night.
Not in the. He is not in the Eddie Murphy, Richard
Oh, no, no.
Pryor,
no.
Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart convo.
But
And I
don't-
would say Mulaney is barely A-list. Like he's right. Like he just hit that mark.
Okay.
Like he
Congrats,
just
John, you
crossed
made
that
it.
line. And I think there might be people who disagree with me, but I'm just a really big John Mulaney fan. But I think he's got his own show now. He's in more of the
But don't you think
mainstream.
like if you're touring comedians, if they can sell out, I don't know what will they seat for Shane Gillis? 12, 13 would be a sellout. You think?
there's a
So if you could sell out a building, and he has sold out
multiple.
bigger venues, I think that determines what list you're on.
I think though at the same time that like there's a difference between selling out the building and it being super expensive to get into a sold out building. Like he sold out the Chai. Chai will probably be sold out.
Okay.
But at this point with how much the tickets have dropped, it might be like $30 to get in, which I wouldn't say is like a massive price, right? I mean, there are some comedians where even if you're getting in the nosebleeds come like a week before the concert, you're still in the triple digits in terms of ticket prices. I would say he's right. I would say he's right there. And you know what? I would say that he probably, if we were to make like a whole list of B-list comedians, he would probably have the best shot to enter the
I smell a
A-list.
big board.
Yeah.
Because I think that he captures a very different audience that we've seen comedy capture over the last couple of years. Like he very much has grabbed some of the more right-leaning, people, and he's grabbed a lot of young people who, I just he's.
Hey,
but
didn't you? Aren't you
while-
the guy that got fired from Saturday Night Live?
Oh, he's got a crazy story where he was like a war veteran, or not a war veteran, but like he went to like he enlisted in the army and then left after 2 weeks, and then tried playing football at Elon. The guy's crazy.
See, I'm with Kyle here. B-listers don't host SNL.
I just have then there's a lot of A-list comedians. There would be a pretty long list of A-list comedians, in my opinion.
Then Shane Gillis would be in that A-list, but not at the top,
No,
which he shouldn't be.
he shouldn't be. It's just how sacred is, like if you're not really that into comedy, I think you would put a lot of people at your A-list.
What about
If
Bert?
you-
Has he earned your respect to be in that list?
Amy Schumer,
Hell no.
she sold out the chai.
I don't
She
think.
hosted SNL.
No, she's not. She's not in my A-list of comedians. I'm not the biggest Bert fan. He gets a lot of attention though. I prefer Tom Segura, but I would definitely not put Tom Segura in the A-list of comedians. I wouldn't put Bert in the A-list
But
either.
not Tom Selleck.
No. But like Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald was an A-list
Yeah.
comedian. Like that's the difference. Like that's when I think of I think of those guys. I think of those.
I don't know. I just think
top
I think
individuals.
using the word B-list is like a negative connotation
I don't-
because like B-list in the movies is they are not really recognizable. You can have a bunch of comedians and then you have your best of the best, which is Eddie Murphy, Norm Macdonald, those short ones.
Sure.
Kevin
You're
Hart.
gonna have tiers to your A-list.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, Kevin Hart absolutely.
So
is in
Shane
that
Gillis
combo.
can sell out the chai, but Kevin Hart has to sell out Baxter.
I knew you were going there. I don't know why he's in Baxter. I've told you this from the beginning. I don't get it.
I don't know the backstory on why he'll be in a couple of weeks, why he'll be at Baxter. Because he has played, so he shot one of his Netflix shows here in Omaha because that was one of the first times I went to a show
Sure.
where they took your phone or they
Oh.
they locked up your phone.
Yeah.
And then they made sure they watched you. If you
Like took it out.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they escorted someone out. They didn't throw him out, but they made him go out.
They did that with Rogan and Lincoln. Same thing.
Here is Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Jimmy,
It was going to be a good call.
is Bob a comedian?
Bob had thoughts?
Was it Bob Gillis?
No. Or Goldway.
He keep.
No.
Ed has followed up Kyle's email.
Or
Because
Bob
I don't
Ryan.
think B-listers sit in on game day.
Just like what I just have a very small list of A-list comedians. I would not put Shane Gillis there. I wouldn't put Bert Kreischer there. I wouldn't put Tom Segura there. I would put like 6 guys there.
Ken Hangover. Game day.
Ken Jeong.
Ken Jeong.
B-list.
The fact that you had to think about that,
B-list.
you would put him.
B-list.
You were thinking about.
B-list.
You were thinking about putting him ahead of Shane Gillis.
B-list. 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 I love Ken Jeong.
Chris Rock.
You complete me.
Chris Rock.
Why did I have to run out of codeine?
Chris Rock? Like 10 years ago, maybe, yeah? Like a decade ago, sure. Chris Rock now? No. Jay Farrow? C-list.
Okay. What about Chelsea Handler?
No. C-list.
What about Jay Moore? Not that Jay Moore. Not our friend.
Oh, I like Jay Moore.
If you put him in the A-list, we're done.
He's not in the A-list. He's in the B-list.
Crossovers next.
He's in the
so
B-list.
At some point.
In the B-list. I have a strict A-list. A strict.
So how many people are in your A-list?
Norm
comedians?
Macdonald.
Okay.
Dave Chappelle.
Yes. Yes.
Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
Richard Pryor.
Okay.
Kevin Hart. Okay. Yes. Yes, Kevin Hart. Yes, Kevin Hart.
I'm just listening.
And then very much borderline, and this is a Matt McMaster thing, John Mulaney.
Okay.
If you would say John Mulaney's in my B list, that is of your opinion.
Do you agree with this list, Jimmy?
I'm just listening. I'm just hanging up and listening.
Kevin Hart, why is there any trepidation with Kevin Hart? The guy's got his own Nike running shoe.
And that makes him a better comedian?
No, it just makes him a more popular human.
Rodney Dangerfield did not
Shane
have
Gillis
any running
was in
shoes.
a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, but
He
how
was
many
with
people
Post Malone.
really knew it was Shane? He was the B of the A-list commercial. Because Post Malone is way more popular than Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis went on game day. He sat down.
So did Timothy Chalamet.
People know who he is. He is
So did
very
Linda
much an
McMahon.
A. He is very much an A. What about Nikki Glazer?
She's a B-list. She's a good B-list.
Okay.
She's a very good B-list.
Does she have a chance to rise up to an A-list?
I think so. I think she's got, but like it's going to take years. It's going to take a very long time.
Okay.
I think Tom Segura and Burt Kreischer are B-list, are top of the B-list guys. I don't know if they'll ever capture the audience to be
Frank
A-list.
Caliendo.
B-list.
Okay.
He's a B. That's good. That's a really good spot.
Mhm.
You want it.
Watson's going to come in here.
B-list means that you sell out stadiums, that you
Friend
are a
of the
known
Happer Show.
comedian, that you do a good job. A-list, though, means that in a certain kind of way, you've been doing it for a very, very long time, and you have some iconic moments.
Here is Joe. Good morning, Joe, on the Prairie Flower Casino Hotline.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Doing well. Thank you.
Doing good, Joe.
Good. My question for you is, can people move up and down that A list and B list?
See, that's a great question.
Because
I would
three of your 5 guys or 6 guys are dead.
No, I know.
So
Cross him
how do
off.
we move
That is
off
a
that
great
list?
observation,
No,
Joe.
no, you're absolutely right. I would say I kind of contradicted myself, Joe, because I said Chris Rock probably would be on the A list 10
Likely.
years ago, and then now he's no longer on the A list. I
But
don't.
how do you not have Chris Rock on the A list?
I would say there can be movement, and I'm still keeping Kevin Hart on my A list.
It's your show, I guess. You're part of it, but it makes no sense to me. But
What doesn't make
More
any
power
sense?
to you.
That Richard Pryor and Norm Macdonald are on the A list of comedians?
No, I don't think Joe. I think Joe would be in agreement there.
So what doesn't?
yeah,
what doesn't
absolutely.
make sense? What doesn't
But
make
how
sense?
does Chris Rock move off and leave Kevin Hart on? Just because Kevin
I
Hart
think Kevin Hart is still an A-list comedian. He still
well-
absolutely is a superstar. Absolutely is well
so
known.
when did
If he
so when
walked
did
into,
Chris Rock move off it? When he got slapped in the face?
I think Chris Rock moved off it when he just hasn't been around as much, and I don't think he made Kevin Hart made an
Doesn't
incredible
bode well for
cultural
George
impact.
Carlin.
Also, too, Kevin Hart has done a
Yeah,
better
oh,
job
yeah,
of being in
exactly.
movies.
What about George Carlin? Thank you.
He could
Perfect
be there. That's
example.
fine.
No. He don't say
Yeah,
he could be there.
yeah.
He is there.
He
Yeah,
is there.
Yeah,
He's
he is
there. He's
Yes.
there.
We've seen him.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I still think Gillis is an A-lister just because of the stuff he's done lately. If you're going to go with Kevin Hart lately, Kevin Hart is just living off of what he's been doing for the last 10 years. I agree. But Shane Gillis
I think he's made
coming
enough
fast.
cultural impact, Joe, where I will keep him on the A list. I think he has done enough in comedy where it's like he just can't move off because for a very long time he was the guy. And then he also made more of an impact even outside of just doing stand-up.
Okay, so here's a really, really rough take for you. Carrot Top.
No. Thanks for calling.
He has his own Vegas show.
That's true.
Thanks for calling, Joe.
That's true. Joe, thank you for the phone call.
You're welcome.
Jerry Seinfeld?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, this could have gotten
Yes.
ugly real fast.
No ugly. I'm there. I'm educated. I'm there.
Bill Burr?
Oh,
Nate Bargatze?
no, not Nate.
Okay. He's done a good job.
He's done a great job. He's an awesome comedian.
Stephen Wright?
No.
Okay.
Bill Burr. Oh, I'll
Louis C.K.?
no.
Bill Cosby?
No.
Mitch Hedberg?
Nope.
Rest in peace.
No.
He's a dead one. He could be on your A list.
Bill Hicks?
Rodney Dangerfield?
No.
Sam Kinison?
No.
Don Rickles?
No.
Gabriel Iglesias?
B.
Okay. He's moving up.
Great. Love
Okay.
him.
Foxworthy?
No.
Larry the Cable Guy?
No.
Okay. Daniel Tosh?
No.
What about Gaffigan?
No.
He does a good job of selling out arenas. Woody Allen?
No.
Okay.
They're all great comedians.
Yeah.
All incredible at their job. All maybe at one point were on that echelon.
This will be my last one. Robin Williams.
Yes.
Okay. All right, there. That's a good one to end on. Peyton Oswalt?
No.
Or Patton Oswalt,
no,
excuse me.
no.
Okay. Sarah Silverman.
No.
Wanda Sykes.
Ah, she's great. No.
Bernie Mac.
Ah. No.
Bob Newhart.
No.
Okay.
These are all tough. See, now you're just you are. I didn't think this conversation would get to this part.
David Cross.
No.
Smart. Okay. All right. Shane Gillis will be joining us on Friday before his set
In
here
person.
in Omaha. Yes.
What does he need to do to get
All right.
on a
Take a
Matt's
break.
list?
Come back. Very, very fortunate to be on an A-lister.
I love Shane Gillis. There's a reason I'm going. He's incredible. There's just a very small.
Jon Stewart.
No, but close. Yes, yeah, he's an A-list. Yeah. I'm kind of screwing myself with Mulaney.
I could put a wrap on the show after this in 1620 The Zone. All right, we Hey! We finished with Mark. Mark, you got about 90 seconds here. Welcome.
Mark.
Oh,
Mark.
Mark. Oh,
Mark had thoughts for me.
He did.
This
Cedric,
is becoming a really, really difficult conversation really quickly, and I want to say that I didn't really know what I got myself into.
Cedric the Entertainer.
No. Great, though.
Cedric Sabalos.
Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac is very good.
Steve Harvey.
I have to take John Mulaney off my A list. John Mulaney has to be on the B list. And I would put Steve Harvey.
Just because he hosts Family Feud? Fine
I would put
program.
Steve Harvey on. How can you put Steve Harvey on the B list? Steve Harvey's an A list
This
comedian.
isn't my list. It's your list.
He's an A lister.
D.L. Hughley.
No.
Barry Alexander Brown.
No.
Wynn Thomas.
No.
Joey Gladstone.
It's only one off of the original Kings of Comedy.
Steve Harvey's A list. Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, B list. Richard Pryor, Norm Macdonald, Robin Williams, Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr. A list. A list.
But the Dice Man.
A list comedians. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's a difference between the greatest comedians of all time
Phyllis
and like the
Diller.
greatest on the mic and the greatest stand-up people and like all the Mount Rushmore of like the most influential comedians and just A-list and B-list. A-list and B-list is just who is popular and who is recognizable. Those guys are it. Did I get screwed? This is bad. Can we just get to the crossover?
No.
Ain't gonna get any better there.
Just come on. Just get to
Not
stop
today.
it, Jimmy. Stop it. Just get me home. Just get me off the beach.
I just want to show people it is it's 92 days away from the start of the Nebraska football season. So you want a little something?
Uh-oh. Oh, looky there.
Oh Lord.
They have painted the end zones and they put the logo and the red.
Can you throw that back up?
You think it's funny?
No, I do. I want to see it. I want to see it.
Look at that. It's bright. It's red. It's beautiful.
There you go. Here's another shot. Look at that one.
Oh,
That's Trey
that's
Dannon.
the one thing that can bail you out there.
That looks so good.
Let me read a comment here. I'm just gonna. That looks really good. All right, that's good. But you know what? What about the people that are going to be playing on that turf? Okay, is that going to make them a better team? Is that because they're going to be on there in the summer? They're going to be running drills. They're going to be running from end zone to end zone, and they'll say, "Get to the red," and that'll change everything.
I did
Hey.
not think of that.
Yeah,
Everybody on the line.
Did Nebraska just red out Memorial Stadium? That actually pops. That looks really, really good.
I can't wait for
right.
there to be a whiteout at Memorial Stadium and the away team's wearing white. Can't wait for that to happen.
I'm waiting for the game, and you know what's coming. They're going to wear all red. And will the red match the end zone?
No.
All right. Thanks to whatever just happened there. Dave Attell?
No.
Gallagher?
No.
Roseanne.
No.
Oh, we just had a comment on
What
the
do you got
stream for
against-
more women.
What do you get against women comedians?
Nothing.
Women. How about female comedians?
Tina Fey would be A-list. Maybe. I don't know. Don't look at me like that. I don't know. Get out of my face.
Arthur.
Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Get out of my face.
Carol Burnett?
No. Maybe. I don't know. This is gone way beyond what I thought it was. I thought this was just a nice little fun activity. And now
Why did I run out of painkillers?
people are going to get real offended by my opinions.
Okay. We'll regroup. We'll get after this tomorrow.
Just pick right back up. I will have, you know what? I'll just write a list. I'll just write a list of all my
You got
A-listers
a
and
list.
B-listers.
on a big board.
We now have a big board.
We now
of
have a big
A,
board.
B, C. Is there a C list?
I'll make a C list.
Okay. All right. Crossover's coming up next. For Jimmy, for Matt, I'm Gary. It's Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone.